Neil, from your professional or your personal life, how many times have you cut it up with people from the state of Mississippi?
Well, ask me in an hour, and the answer is going to be two, and them names are going to be Swift and RC. But it's good to know you guys, man. You guys seem like great guys and know your sports. I listened to part of one of your episodes that Randy shared with me, so it was all good stuff. Updated my own running back rankings off of what y'all was saying a little bit. So thank you for that. And let's get into it.
Problem.
I mean, Swift, I know that you have had the podcast for some time, and
Yeah.
is it the first time you're talking sports with a couple Canadians?
Yes, most definitely. First time. So congrats to y'all.
Now take a look at us.
You are listening to Voice of the Fans Sportscast, brought to you by none other than the voices of the fans.
It is Thursday, the 3rd of October. I'm Randy Coure with the inaugural edition of Voice of the Fans Canada. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are catching us on YouTube or downloaded tonight's episode off your favorite podcatcher, thank you so much. I have a new handle to remember to share with you all. It is VOF Canada. Of course, that is Voice of the Fans. And basically, I started a podcast back in 2019 and came across some great sportscasters from the state of Mississippi. And obviously, a friendship has developed to the point where a proposal was sent to have a cross brand, if you will, from just sharing sports topics, not only from here in Canada, but of course here, south of my border in the United States. The three gentlemen who were definitely instrumental in developing this idea has joined me for this inaugural edition. First, I can welcome as a colleague, if you will, Professor Damian Flowers is with us. Damian, what's going on?
Good evening. Good evening.
And he is near and dear to the Edmonton Oilers, which I hope we will change as per the blue and white of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ronnie R.C. Clark is here as well. Ronnie,
I will be ordering the jersey soon.
You're going to be ordering the jersey soon. Well, you know what? Beyond McDavid and Draisaitl, and of course, you could definitely bring it back to the likes of Gretzky, Fuhrer, Messier. You definitely have a lot to choose from. Mm-hmm. And dare I say, the person responsible for this new relationship. He is the host of the Voice of the Fans Sportscast. Be sure to catch my guys at VOF Sportscast on all of your favorite platforms. He is Ben Swift Reynolds. And Swift, what the hell did you get me into, man?
A lot of ish, especially with these guys.
Absolutely. You know, you guys definitely have a lot of passion to sports, and whether it be college, whether it be basketball, you know, the music scene, and just social stories altogether. If there is an opportunity where I can share a point of view from north of your border, I'm definitely looking forward to doing that. So, guys, from the bottom of my heart, and I know that you guys have cut it up with Neil Katari, as well as Tony Antonio, which you haven't met yet, Dan Legere. We just want to thank you guys so much for this.
Oh man, no problem, man. It was just a no-brainer to bring y'all guys on. Y'all passion for sports. We love what y'all did over there. And we were like, man, we gotta get those guys over here. We gotta add them to the team, man. And y'all keeping up the good work.
That's definitely what we try to do. Definitely what we try to do. And I think, rather than just going off on, why the relationship and, what did you guys see in me and all that? I mean, hey, why don't we talk a little sports, shall we? I mean, the reality is that geographically we are neighbors, but there is some differences between Canada and the United States. Obviously, the top sport in your country is football.
Mhm.
Very easy to say that the top sport is hockey in Canada. And obviously, the four of us have been following sports all our lives. And as an observer from this country, watching and observing sports in the United States, football is just on another level in terms of its popularity, not only in the professional ranks, but in college as well. Flowers, I'd love to start things with yourself. And, when it comes to the amateur ranks, the collegiate level, the United States is just so in love with NCAA and Division II, whatever the case is. Why is it? What is the love and the enjoyment of college football in the United States?
Honestly, first and foremost, in my opinion, Randy, we got to go by region, and let's start with the South because football is king down South, man. If you go to the West Coast, you got beaches, you got a lot more things to do out like in California and such. The East Coast, you have things you can do in the metropolitan areas, but as far as the South and football is king, is God. We're raised, bred football. A lot of kids go to school, they rep their alma maters, and that becomes heavy in college. As far as your Mississippi State, your Alabama's, your LSU's, there's nothing to do in the South, Randy. So, man, and they Saturday mornings they're gonna tailgate, they're gonna watch the college football, they're gonna support the communities, they're gonna support the states, and I just think it's just, especially Saturdays, more Saturdays than Sunday. Saturday is more of a unity day, you can say for the United States as far as with teams because, we get together and support a common goal as far as, for our states. And the kids probably would push these people to support.
Yeah, I mean, seeing certain movies and so on, the community feel. I've never been to your state of Mississippi, but friends of mine who have traveled to such places like South Carolina says that there's a real thing about Southern hospitality and the community feel, whether it be football and basketball and so on. Saying that there's I guess and forgive me for not really knowing truly, but like when it comes to Mississippi, is it not so much Ole Miss and Mississippi State? There is an affection for college programs outside. Well, I mean, I guess there is. I mean, RC's got a Michigan set up behind.
Right.
What
a guy! What a guy!
Randy, look, don't feel embarrassed or ashamed of not knowing anything. This is why we're here to learn. We're here to adapt. We're here to learn. So look, whatever question you have, man, you always feel free to ask.
No, I appreciate that.
People, people go out the state. RC, for instance, he's a Michigan guy. I don't really have a college team. I've always been more of an NFL guy. But I probably can say 9 times out of 10, you get your college team from the school being alma mater. A lot of these kids go to these schools and they graduate, and that's what they bleed. They pay back into it. They live and breathe Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Ole Miss, so on, states, even the HBCUs. The connections are strong.
And I don't follow college football at all. And to put you on the spot, the three of you, obviously Deion Sanders has created quite the whirlwind in Colorado. he came in like a lion and things had sort of tailed off. I don't have the record right in front of me, but they're 1-1 this year. But after 4-1, 4-1, excuse me. What do you guys think of Deion as a college coach? I mean, is this like a stepping stone for him to get to the NFL? Do you guys think that he is going to go wherever his son is going? Like, I mean, what do you guys think?
If we take his word, he doesn't want to go to the NFL. If we're taking his word for it, he says he feels his mission is with kids in college. He feels like he can get more out of. I'm quite sure he feels like he gets more out of kids in college than trying to coach a bunch of grown men with a bunch of egos in the NFL. So I think he's where he wants to be. But I am curious to when Shador leaves, especially Shador and Travis. What's his mission after that? Will he be devoted and motivated to continue to coach now that Shador and Shiloh will be leaving the program? That I am curious about.
Right. Well, it just works out for Deion because the status of him being one of the greatest NFL players ever to play the game. So his energy, his bravado, just bring that to the table. And I think that's what he brings to college football. He brings that energy, that excitement, and that's what it's all about. And I think that's why kids, they want to go play for him. They look up to him. They watch the games. Even us, we watch the Colorado games to see the energy, to see what he's going to do, how he handles situations. And Deion just been like that his whole life, even in the studio on NFL Network. The energy, the segments he bring, people just gravitate towards that. And that's what they do in that Colorado. Everybody gravitate towards see what they're going to do on Saturday.
Me personally, man, I think he stays. I mean, he actually introduced the world to a kid that's Travis Hunter plays both ways. He plays wide receiver and cornerback. He introduced the world to another Travis Hunter. He said, this kid is playing both ways as well. Wears a great jersey. That means he plays both sides of the ball. So he may be quietly developing, building something, buying land over there, buying a house. I know he buys a house wherever he goes, or rent a house wherever he goes, but he was actually on a golf cart with his mom showing her the land he bought over there. So I think at that age and stage, I think he finishes there. I don't think he wins a national championship or anything like that, but Deion has enough money. He's going to allow his kids to branch off and do their thing. So I think he stays in Colorado.
I guess from where I see it, I mean, we have seen college coaching legends dip their toe in the pros, right? Like you think of John Calipari, you think of Nick Saban, you think of Rick Pitino. And for those three, I mean, it was an absolute flop. But there doesn't seem to be a challenge that Deion has avoided. I mean, and I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but actually I did have a chat with a couple of buddies. One guy's a big Dallas Cowboys fan. And I mean, could Jerry Jones be crazy enough to give Deion the keys to the Cowboys car? I definitely hear what you guys. Oh, sorry, please go ahead.
Dallas will never have a black head coach. No.
You don't think that'll happen? Not even Jerry Jones with Deion?
No. Dallas will never have a black head coach. I think that won't ever happen. I don't think that'll ever happen in my lifetime. Maybe after I leave the earth, but I don't see it happening. I feel like he loved those guys. I don't think it has anything to do with him not wanting a black coach. I just don't think it's just. I don't think guys, for one, would want the job, and then two, it's business, and it wouldn't be good for business. I don't think Deion Sanders would be good for business in Dallas. They don't need the money; they're profitable as a loser. So you mean to tell me, how much more money he gonna make for them if they the most profitable organization in football without winning the Super Bowl in 30 years? What are he gonna add? I don't even know if the owner wants to win a Super Bowl. Bring Deion there. He has not won. Those guys you listed or named before Deion actually won in college. He ain't won nothing in college, so he still have a challenge in college. He got to check that box before I would think he would want to check that box before you go on to the next level.
Yeah, and then Deion personality as a head coach, it would be too big for Dallas anyway. How Jerry Jones is and how Deion, that's two big personalities clashing. It was class. I want to see that working at all.
I hear you. I hear you for sure. But I got to tell you, from my neck of the woods here, obviously one of the more cherished franchises, Canada's team, if you will, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. They haven't won a cup since 1967, and it's way too long. Way too long. I mean, my father has been here, 55 plus years. He has not seen our team make the cup final. It's terrible. But if you were the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs for winning that Stanley Cup, your family will never have to have a meal, pay for a meal in the city of Toronto ever again. Imagine if you're the coach of that team, and it's been 34. How many years now? Is it now 30 years since Dallas hadn't won a Super Bowl?
Yeah. So it's the equivalent of Dallas and San Francisco. If Dak Prescott or Brock Purdy wins a Super Bowl, they don't have to go into the Hall of Fame. They're automatically legends in those towns. If Dallas or if Brock or Dak wins the Super Bowl, you can pencil it in. They'll never have to buy a pizza.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of questions going on right now with if Dallas has the resources, if Jerry is just if he's just got his fingerprints all over the team too much. They're 2-2 for this start right now. Could it be the first time in over 30 years we see the Cowboys make the Super Bowl? We'll see. You don't think so?
Not this year.
But as we go from football, guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you fellows about hockey. And I think from my perspective that my favorite team is the Toronto Maple Leafs. My favorite sport to follow is basketball. And obviously 2019, when the Raptors won the championship, was just such a magical moment. It was the first time ever a Toronto team won a playoff tournament with 16 teams. I mean, the Leafs, when they won the Stanley Cup, there was only 6 teams in the NHL. And I mean, that was a grind, that 2-month grind. It was something that Toronto fans have never been used to. And I was tired. I'll tell you that right now. But the reality is that we are not oblivious to the fact that hockey doesn't have the same passion in the United States. That maybe, beyond football, basketball, baseball, maybe NASCAR is as bigger than hockey. And, RC, why is that the case? Why is hockey not as popular as, say, baseball, basketball, football?
Because it's as far as location. I mean, the area of the country that we live in, it gets cold in Michigan and Buffalo and New York and the northern part of the United States. But I can't see. I found out many years ago that there used to be hockey teams all over the United States. But as far as Canadian hockey teams used to be all over the United States. But with that being said, I think the issue, or maybe the reason why it's not as popular, because maybe the location which we live in, it's a lot warmer here. We're outside more. You tell me if I'm wrong. We probably outside way more than you guys are year round. We don't get as cold in Mississippi as they do in Toronto. Soccer, baseball, basketball, all those are outside sports, and I think just as far as the location, that may be the issue, or maybe be the reason why. Because I honestly didn't get turned on to hockey until Wayne Gretzky. Started paying attention to Wayne Gretzky because of growing up as a kid. Wayne Gretzky was one of the guys that they used to have this cartoon where it was like an animated, where it was all the stars.
Oh, with Bo Jackson and
Wayne Gretzky,
the Pro Stars.
Yeah, and so
y'all on your age.
B, you take that hat off, you're gonna be right where we at. Look, but let me tell you something. That's the only reason why I like figured out who that was, and then Mark Messier was next, and then I started digging more and more, and then I got turned on to it, and I started watching it, and I wanted the Kings to win a championship, and they finally did it at some point, and then the Rangers. But it's not on television here much either. You have to buy the package, I think, if I'm correct. Yeah. It's not like on your local channel because we don't have a local team here. I think the closest team to us, we have a minor league team on the coast, I think. And I know Nashville has a team. Do Atlanta still have a team?
The Predators?
No.
What, Predators? Nashville?
No, not Atlanta. There's rumor that they're thinking about expansion for a third time. Atlanta had a team in the 80s. That didn't work out.
Oh, Dallas. That's who
Dallas has a team.
Yeah.
The Nashville Predators. Okay, that's
the Predators. Yeah.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying, and it took. Well, Raleigh, North Carolina has a team as well. I don't know.
Who are the Thrashers?
That was Atlanta. That was Atlanta.
That was like a few years ago.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It's been a while. It's been a while since Atlanta had their team.
What were their colors? Yeah. Was it green?
And black or something like that?
Oh, it was all over the place. I mean, it was burgundy, it was yellow, it was orange, it was blue. Like I'll try and
they need to revamp that.
Yeah. But they have the
they need to do Falcon colors. They Thrashers need to do Falcon colors.
They had the like a bird wrapped up with a hockey stick. That's the issue with Atlanta logo. If you look at the Atlanta Hawk, when I was a kid, I thought it was like Pac-Man. I thought it was Pac-Man because it was the way it looked. I never saw the bird. I couldn't put it. All I saw was it looked like a mouth, and I'm like, that's weird. And then as I got older, I realized I started paying attention to the actual outline of the bird. But yeah, what's up with the Thrasher? Is a bird, I guess.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that team.
You're not really sure what I have no clue what a Thrasher is, but I mean, well, thinking that you guys are probably not aware that the last two championships, the reigning Stanley Cup champions are in Miami, and the team before who had won the cup was the Vegas Golden Knights. So
Miami who?
Yeah.
Well, it's the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Florida Panthers.
And see, I mean, I'm a little surprised, but I'm not really surprised because I think that hockey has definitely failed in terms of reaching out to the United States. Like I had a conversation with a woman. I was traveling. Actually, I was at the Raptors game, and I was decked out in my Raptors gear. And this woman, she was give or take in her late 60s. She was like New York attitude, and she was like, giving me the stink eye, but it was all love because we were talking about, if the Knicks were going to do something last year. Jalen Brunson absolutely torched Toronto. It was Raptors for RJ's first appearance back at MSG, along with Quickly, of course. And she didn't know anything about hockey either. And I mean, we're talking about New York City, and we're talking about. But is it though? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they had the Islanders, so I would think that they would know a little bit more than we would.
Flowers, I think you were trying to say something.
Oh, I was saying, man, they got the Islanders and the Rangers.
That's
RC. Like, far as I just think it's based on location and resources.
Because I gotta ask, like, isn't football quite expensive as well? Because I mean, yeah, sure, you have to, trying to find a rink and ice skates, and obviously it's pretty expensive to maintain a indoor hockey rink. But you think about the pads, you think about the resurfacing turf, and so on. Like, isn't it expensive to put your kid into football?
Yes and no.
To me, football is probably one of the least expensive things you probably can put your kid into. Got to have insurance, of course. That's the most important thing. But man, these schools they fund the shoulder pads and stuff. You get a pair of shoulder pads for no more than $200. The you're buying baseball bats and stuff like that, $200-300 a piece, depending on the quality you get. So, football is actually it take care of itself because you got to think about concessions. High school and college levels, you got to think about a lot of people that play on grass. So that's self-maintenance in itself. Like in high school, the coaches cut the grass themselves and fertilize the grass and keep it up. So that's cost savings. And, they hire maintenance people in colleges to do that. But, they spend money on the turfs, to be cheap, in my opinion, so the maintenance won't have to be that much of a big deal.
Right.
And the equipment is provided. They don't have to pay for the equipment in some leagues. The stuff is provided. It's like maybe all in the package, but
Especially depending on where you go.
Unless you have one of them kids that want to swag themselves out, and it get expensive. Yeah, cause my son, he wanted a helmet. That thing was $300. I was just like, hit the field.
Buy his own helmet.
Yeah, it was a revolution. It was one of the newer helmets with the pros wearing NFL. And somebody on his team was selling their helmet.
You gotta realize you gotta buy the helmet. You gotta get it painted.
Yep.
Houseworthy.
Right. No, it's a shame. I mean, it is an incredible sport. Hockey is, and I just think that there's a lot that needs to be done, and now that they are getting more personality. See, I mean, I think that's the thing with the NFL, let alone basketball, is that there is a level of expression that basketball players and football players have, and that hockey players just refuse to. And you think about one of the captains for the Florida Panthers, who just recently won the Cup, as I just mentioned. He's got some snap to him, and I think it's great to see, and I think that's definitely needed. Yeah, for sure. Before we get on to more specific topics, obviously, and as mentioned, that it's been a long time since my Maple Leafs won a cup. The last team to win the Stanley Cup was Montreal in '93. The Blue Jays hadn't won a World Series since '93, but there are a number of teams. Say it again.
What was the guy that played for them Carter? His last name was Carter. Is it Dale?
Yeah, Joe Carter.
Joe Carter.
And that was, I'll never forget that night. It was on my sister's birthday, and ironically enough, I fell asleep when the Jays won the first World Series, and I got chirped so hard by my sister because I'm the sports guy. She stayed up, and then the year I was up screaming like a madman, and my sister was asleep on her 13th birthday. So it was just such an incredible night. I couldn't believe what had happened. That was just, to win a World Series off a home run, incredible. But, there are a lot of teams that have this kind of drought. I mean, not so much like the Chicago Cubs, but
yeah, we won recently.
as Swift is rocking his Cubs jersey.
Yes, had to bring up the Cubs.
But, we'll start it with Swift, but I'd love to get all three of your opinions on that team that could be the sentimental favorite. I mean, can you imagine if the Lions and the Bills met in last year's Super Bowl? I mean, hey, anything could happen. Anything could happen this year. Swift, let's start it with you. Who do you think could be America's team?
I want to say Bills, but a lot of people have a problem with Josh Allen and everything. Some people hate him, some people like him. So it definitely had to be the Detroit Lions because they have gone through generations upon generations of losing or being the worst team in the NFL, going 0-16 and seeing all that type of stuff happen. So I think the Lions have a lot of players that people can root for. Jared Goff, he was a throwaway quarterback. Sean McVay didn't want him anymore, so a lot of people see that in themselves, like RC. But that's why he root for the Lions. He's like, yeah, I understand Jared Goff, I understand him. But the They got Jameer Gibbs. I mean, they got a lot of likable characters on that team with Amon St. Brown, and it's just a star-studded team, really. And I see a lot of people getting behind them.
What do you think it is about Josh Allen specifically?
Some people don't like his turnovers. He got on a lot of people's bad side because of the way he turned over the football and everything, his style play. So a lot of people think he's not that good because he had a lot of turnovers last year. It's just really about that. People just nitpicking at him.
Flowers, what about you? I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be just football, but I mean, if you do think that, you know, a team like the Lions or the Bills, maybe even Cleveland, but I mean, there's a few basketball teams, baseball teams that have gone a long time as well.
Go basketball. What about the Knicks? That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Knicks.
They
won a championship since the 70s.
My mom's a Knicks fan. I would love to see that.
40, 50 years from here ago. So that's a good one to start with. You know what? I know Ben said Josh Allen is a bad rep, but I want to give the Bills some credit because, you know, Detroit's the easier one to do, but the Bills have had success. They've been they had a stint where they went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost. They've endured, you know, pain and suffering over the last 20 plus years to now they have Josh Allen and they have hope. So I like the Bills fans. They're very passionate. If anyone gets hurt, they'll donate to their charities. You know, so I respect fans. If anybody has something, they could be on the list also.
The dark horse is the Saints again. I think a lot of people like to see them guys.
As Swift is next time you're on the show here, Voice of the Fans Canada, Swift, I need you to rock a Saints jersey for me.
I got you. I'll bring out the AK. I mean, nobody don't mess with me or kiss some hands. That's how he roll.
I would have loved to have seen. I would love to have seen a Saints game one day. So, RC, please.
So I think I'm gonna go ahead. I have a bold prediction. The Niners are going to be the one to break the streak. They're going to get over the hump. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's not a matter of when or if. It's a matter of when it's going to happen. The Lions will be right behind them because, listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. Last year, the Lions were going to do it. They don't figure out how to lose against my Niners. I would have been hurt, but I would have been happy because I want to see the Lions, Detroit as a whole, as far as Pistons, Tigers, and freaking
Tigers.
Shout out to the Tigers.
Yeah, and so my thing is, I would love to see that. Cleveland never happened. I'm talking about rigor mortis will be set in on all of us. And then you got to think about like I cracked this joke in the barbershop not too long ago to Atlanta Hawks fan. I said, you wake up every year knowing you don't have a shot in hell with the NBA final, but yet still you buy tickets and watch the game. There's some teams that's just not gonna happen, bro. Like in Canada, I don't ever foreseeing who would be the worst out of the three. How many teams? Ottawa. So it's Ottawa.
Well, there's seven. There's 7 hockey teams.
Who's been a traditional loser there?
Oh well, you'd have to say it'd be Toronto. I mean, now Winnipeg got the team from Atlanta. They have never. Well, okay, so to go way back, Winnipeg had a team, but it moved to Phoenix. Then Atlanta moved to Winnipeg. It's kind of like the New Orleans basketball when they went from Charlotte to New Orleans, and then
OKC.
So who's
not
the one with the longest drought of winning the championship? Who's like the Saints before they win the Super Bowl? They're traditional losers. They have no history of winning. They have like a very small window. Who's the traditional loser? Like
that would be Toronto. That would definitely be the Leafs. Because let's put it this way. The Leafs have won 1 playoff series in 20 years. They haven't made the Cup final since.
So y'all the Cowboys.
Oh, we are the worst. I mean, and it's funny, but there was a stretch because the soccer team, which is quite popular, Toronto FC, the Raptors winning the championship, and then the Blue Jays making postseason runs and so on. But this the Toronto Maple Leafs is the version of the Chicago Cubs. I mean, that the support is still so strong and incredible. Montreal Canadiens, of course, but they have like 10 more Stanley Cups than the Leafs do, right? And Edmonton had a streak going in the 80s, but they fizzled out now. They were just one game away from that incredible comeback against Florida. And Canada.
They look like the New York Knicks. Their colors.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that to a degree. And I mean, Canada was really was starved to get the cup back to this country. I mean, it's been 93 since a Canadian team won that Stanley Cup. So, but Toronto is at the top of the pyramid, and I don't know if. Well, I mean, I'm sure Canadians do admit that, but I mean, there's always you should get a firsthand view of what the sense is if you're not from Toronto, Ontario, and like people in Vancouver, Calgary, Halifax, what they think about people in Toronto. It is so negative and it's uncomfortable. Like, I mean, if I was to travel outside of the province, I'd be reluctant to say that I'm from Toronto because there's always such negativity. I'm telling you, Canadians may be nice, but the Toronto people,
dang,
it's rough. It's like East Coast, West Coast.
I kind of have I love underdogs, so it don't matter. Like, let's say the Saints make it to the Super Bowl versus the Chiefs. There's no way in hell I'm going against the Saints. The Colts go against the Chiefs. Anybody but the Chiefs. I don't care who it is. Anybody but the Chiefs. It could be the Cowboys. I will root for the Cowboys. I want to see parity. I want to see a new team emerge. I don't want to see the Niners and the Chiefs again. I want to see some team decide, and that rises up. And I like that in all sports, in baseball, basketball, and in football. I would love to see I cracked the joke about the Hawks, but it would just make my day to see the Hawks win an NBA championship because I like to see those areas because that's where your most loyal fans are. The one, how hard it is to root for a traditional loser. Like, we had a 10-year span in San Francisco where it's like 9 years of losing. And so that was very hard. I remember that, but I want to see those areas win, man. I would love it.
So do I. Oh, sorry, Swift, please.
I was about to say, I think that's why everybody rooting for the Minnesota Timberwolves last year. Like, everybody was on that Anthony Edwards train because Minnesota hadn't won. Like, they've been history of losing. So everybody was we're rooting for Anthony Edwards to get over Dallas, and just didn't happen. Go ahead, Flower.
I want to butt in real quick. And this is I'm watching this live. We're talking about underdogs and losers. The New York Mets, all right.
Oh my goodness.
Live, top of the ninth. Milwaukee's up 2-0-2. Pete Alonso comes to the plate, 3-run homer. Mets up 3-2 ninth.
That's another team. Darryl Strawberry and the Mets. Yep.
But I really do believe that I'm one of the last people to talk bad about kids of today, like the 20-year-olds, the teenagers. I mean, the pressure that those kids have with social media. I mean, I'm sorry. No, if I was a teenager today, I wouldn't have made it to my 20th birthday. I'll tell you that right now. It's like the pressure with TikTok and trying to look a certain way and act a certain way. I mean, like, communications has gone down the crapper. But like, one of the things that I really am annoyed about with kids is their lack of loyalty to the sports teams. I mean, yeah, like, and RC, when you were talking about, do you know how hard it is to cheer for a loser? I mean, these kids today, they don't know what support is like. It's sad.
It ain't just the kids, though, Randy.
Yeah, Randy, the players too.
It's not just the kids, Randy. Randy is not just the kids, brother. The older people, our ages, that's what hurt me. Like, you got somebody in their 40s, like, you left your team because of what? Like, we done made this trip and this journey and this path this far, and now you jump off. But it's not just the kids. There are older people that our ages or younger who they just start hopping around teams. I crack joke about it, but I can't do it. I can never
So
imagine.
RC, that's why you think there's more buddy right now in major league sports, where players they more friendly with division rivals instead of hating each other and being feuding that feud.
They were
Because
raised
that's
like
how they grew
that.
up. Yeah,
That's
they
how
were
they
raised
grew
like
up.
that.
They grew up in the era of, swapping jerseys. Like, me and Flowers, I got a lot of love for Flowers, but if I go into his world of football and I'm on one side, he on the other, somebody got to lose it. Somebody got to lose it. We got to get at it, and I'll holler at him probably in 2 weeks or in 2 days, something like that. But I'm not going to be on camera like, Flower, let me get that chain. Flower, it's the dumbest shit I ever seen. It's I think dumb is an extreme word. It is the lack of competitive spirit and self-awareness. You are a Maple Leafs fan, and you've been loyal to that team. They lose to the rival, and then they're laughing and playing with the rival. Like, what? Like, it makes you want to say, I'm done cheering for this team.
Randy, RC sent a video in our group chat today. It was an Eagles cornerback asking Mike Evans, is he gonna get on Fortnite? They're gonna exchange usernames during the game. As the Eagles are getting blown out, a cornerback is talking to Mike Evans, asking him, is he gonna play Fortnite with him?
Crazy.
Wow. Okay,
Come on,
I'd love to. I'd love to catch that video, because I was about to say that. I mean, there is something about the respect towards the end of the game. Like, I'm not just saying this because you three are joining me for the tonight's roundtable, but I was in Detroit for a Lions game, and it was against the Buccaneers, and I thought it was a beautiful thing to see at the end of the game, all of the players kneeling down for an end of the game prayer.
Oh, yeah.
And would they have done that 40, 50 years ago? I'm guessing not.
Well, let me answer that. That's something that's been done, since high school. Depending on the outcome of the game, if it's not too bad between teams, we used to get together with different teams and kneel and say the Lord's Prayer, and just pray for everybody's safety and well-being. So that's nothing abnormal. That's something that's always been part of football, but it just depends on the severity of the game and your rivals. Obviously you can't kneel down with your rivals if you have them. Probably trying to get the hell up out of there, depending on how the game went. But overall, you do have teams, whether they do it together or win or lose. One of the things we did, win or lose, after the head coach got done talking, we bowed our heads, we prayed, broke it down, and we got out of there.
Well, where I'm from, we have 4 rivals. You better get out of there. You better get out of there. I remember one night playing on the court and actually talking. We're going back and forth about what's going to go on when the game is over with. We're going to meet here. And it was just this whole deal. And it was like, it was tension that was created. It was passed down, tension and hatred. And I could, I'm getting goosebumps on my arms now just thinking about it. And I remember one night, one of the rivals, I'm going to meet, the fight going to happen right across the street from my house. And my mom gets whiff of what's going to go down. So I'm like, hey, after the game, we'll go by the game room. She called it the game room. And as soon as the fight breaks out, I feel this pressure on my back. I'm thinking somebody already got me. I mean, we just better get started, baby. What's going on? It's my mom. My mom has got me on. I'm thinking somebody's choking me out. It's probably one of my teammates done turned on me, because maybe one of these guys is his cousin. It's my mama dragging me out of the situation. I still get talked about to this day that I got beat up by my own mom before I even got into the melee. But but I like seeing the praying. I like seeing the brotherhood. But you got fans like Eagle fans, Cowboy fans.
Oh yeah,
they pay a lot of money to see the competitive part. Don't show it to them. It's They're very open about it now.
Yeah, and I mean, from a hockey perspective, to see crazy brawls in the 80s and 90s. I mean, I don't think hockey is as evident as it is, say, in basketball. Basketball, I think, is the strongest, where the love for opponents, is so strong. I mean, I think it is great in some perspectives in terms of like a sports perspective. That could be up for discussion. Absolutely.
Dude, one more thing. It's 2 hostile environments I've been in that I would never talk crazy in those environments. It's the Superdome in New Orleans. My dad, my sister, my wife invited my dad, and I don't know if he can fight, but he's in the bathroom with the Saints fans, and then he's talking this crazy stuff at halftime. We're winning.
Now, sorry, was he rocking a gear from another team?
Niners jersey? Okay.
Ooh, okay.
And so I walk in and I see him, and he's like talking crazy. Yeah, this is my son. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait, because me and my dad didn't raise me, so it's like, I'm surely not going to fight for you, but I'm thinking in my mind, like, do you know what you're doing? And so the Saints fans were at him, and I pulled him out. I was like, you can't do that at these games. These guys are really serious about these teams. And then one other situation, the Niners are playing in San Francisco. One of my first time being at their game at their stadium in California, and they're blocking all the stalls. Won't let the Lions fans take lead. Man. So they're blocking all the stalls. I walk in and I'm like, whoa. It's like, what is up with? I'll never be that type of fan. So they let all the Niner fans piss, and then the Lions fans, and how far Detroit is from California, so they didn't bring all of the Lions fans. But the fans are fighting and have the rival. The teams don't. It don't mirror what's going on in the stands. Don't mirror what's going on the field.
Isn't that a good thing, though? Isn't that a good thing? I mean.
To a certain point, to a certain extent,
you need to swap.
Yeah,
like
on the you
need to have
on the field. You're a competitor. You compete. So leave it, like they said, leave it on the field. After the game's over, then y'all can buddy up and do all that. But it need to be a certain level of competitiveness. Cause you just can't be smiling after you gave over a 60-yard touchdown and talking about whatever you're talking about to the other guy. You should be mad. You should be upset. So that's the problem.
It's a lot of money on the line too. A lot of gambling.
Yep. And it's just like me being a fan. When I worked at a sporting goods store, and I get all these different fans come in there: Falcons fans, 49ers fans, Cowboy fans, and I can tell you, I got into every last one of them. So when I found out that I was a Saints fan, it was argument, fight. Like it was I got with this Falcons fan. It got so heated, I had to walk away. I had to take myself out of it. I felt like he was saying some crazy stuff to me. I was like, bro, I'm just gonna walk away. God, it's about to get ugly. I don't want to lose my job over Saints and Falcons. Yeah. So that's how it is, and a lot of people just hate that when they see Buddy like they're on the field. That's just it.
Well, because you guys, I think you guys know that I travel a little bit for work, and I was in Milwaukee, and I really liked the Green Bay Packers from back in the day, and I really wanted to get a cheesehead, and I had to connect from Milwaukee to O'Hare, and I was really nervous because I didn't have any room in my suitcase, so I had no choice but to wear a cheesehead through O'Hare Airport. This was a couple of months ago, and a guy said, because I am a little tall, I'm like 6'3", 250 pounds. I didn't really lose the weight that I wanted to lose during the summer, but anyway, that's another story. But I mean, they said that if this was during football season, that I would have definitely gone to a Rumble, but I mean, everybody was pretty cool at O'Hare of all places, so thank God for that. But no, I hear what you guys are saying. I mean, like the intensity and the craziness during the football games is one thing, but has the intensity on the court, field, ice, has that kind of dulling the intensity of the respective sports. We'll see what happens.
Let me tell you something that be intense though, Randy. travel baseball. You talking about intense. Man, them parents be going hard for that kid. we had a lady, my son Trey played with baseball this past season, and this lady got kicked out from being behind the stands by the coach of our team. So we were walking in kind of late to the game. We saw her sitting by the fence, and we were talking to her like, "Why you sitting out here?" Like, "Oh, they don't want me up there. They ain't like what I was saying. They ain't like what I was saying about my boy and what they were doing." And so I just separate myself from them. I'm like, y'all take it that serious over a kid that probably ain't make it to the major leagues. And travel baseball, it's like I said, that's another level. That's like pros. They think that kid's an all-star.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, one thing that hasn't taken down is the intensity of parents. I mean, they see stars and dollar signs in their kids, and they're going to be the next Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Caleb Williams and all these kids that are coming out expecting to do everything. And their baby is going to do the same thing. We'll see.
I tell my kid the truth.
Which is what's exactly.
You need to start training you.
Well, that's hilarious. I mean, hey,
no sugar coming over here.
Yeah, no, hey, right on. Let's why don't we take things over to basketball, fellas? I think the tides are definitely changing. And Flowers, we were talking about the Knicks in terms of teams that your entire country may support if they were to make it to the NBA Finals, win the championship for the first time since 1973. It seems that the Knicks are trying to go all in this year. From Karl-Anthony Towns and perhaps a healthy OG Anunoby, which breaks my heart as a Raptors fan. I mean, do you think New York has it? And are they going to do some things this coming season?
I think they have a real good chance, Randy. Now that you look at the fact of the matter that when they got Karl-Anthony Towns, in my honest opinion, they are built similar to the Boston Celtics. You heard it here first and foremost. They are built just like the Boston Celtics. They need Karl-Anthony Towns to be able to match the bigs in the East. You got Bam Adebayo you got to worry about. Joel Embiid has lost 25 to 30 pounds. So I expect him to be a little more healthier this year, especially with their big three. Porzingis probably comes back, December, January. So they'll need a body that can space the floor and be able to match, the scoring with people like Porzingis and Embiid and company. Not that I'm saying Karl-Anthony Towns is better than Joel Embiid. Don't think that by the bit, but the New York team as a whole, a lot of depth, a lot of length, spacing should be great. You have 3 or 4 primary ball handlers probably on this team that can bring up the ball other than Jalen Brunson. You have scoring on this team with Mikal Bridges. You have defense. Knicks are pretty stout, man. And I really don't recall myself saying this in the 35 years in duration of my life, that the Knicks are pretty good. So this is a first.
And, I got to wonder about if leagues are really hoping that their star franchises actually make it to the top. How much did the NBA lose, in a sense, when Toronto won the championship? How much did they lose with Milwaukee winning that championship? It's been so many years since New York has won a championship, all those years when the Cubs didn't win. Do you guys think that it would elevate the profile of, say, the NBA if the Knicks were to win the NBA championship, if the Lions or the Bills win the Super Bowl? What do you guys think?
I would definitely say the Knicks because of the history. They have a rich history of Madison Square Garden, the aura of that place and everything. So with the Knicks being this good and possibly even making to the finals this year, then that bring more eyes to the game. You probably gonna get some old Knicks fans that probably walked away, that probably gonna come back and seeing this And I think it'll be a good thing for the NBA to have a historic franchise be able to compete for a championship. And it'll bring a lot more younger fans too. So I think it's very good to have teams like that to be able to rise up and bring back eyes to the game.
It's a trick question, Randy. This is a trick question. And I say that because you say when the names that you said are smaller market teams. So the ratings don't impact, the league as far as success, as far as the ratings. Now, if you take a team like the Knicks, and which you've always heard, well, I've always heard, if the Knicks, the Lakers, the big teams with, the bigger viewerships, if they're good, the leagues are better. I do believe that, but I don't want to take anything away from smaller market teams like Milwaukee because, each championship is valuable. The numbers might not have showed in the ratings view, but, think about the millions of Milwaukee fans around the world and, the fans in that state of Milwaukee that, have followed their team, for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It means something to them. So, I never want to disvalue a championship to a franchise, whether it's a big fan base or a small.
No, and you know what? Me neither. I just wonder if the powers that be in the various leagues, if they want to see that. I mean, I personally, I gotta be real with you guys. Like with the Olympics coming up, I was not as excited for the men's basketball tournament. And yes, being in Canada, obviously there is a lot of potential with the Sheas, Jamal Murray's, RJ Barrett's, the list goes on and on, Dylan Brooks. I just thought it was going to be USA. And of course, they were close to losing the gold medal. They were close against Serbia. They were close against France. This tournament was a surprise, but I don't want to see the Boston Celtics win how many championships in a row like they did in the 50s?
Now they got,
was
I think it was
8 or 9 or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see
But
that.
I mean, yeah, no, to RC's point, I think it's all about parity.
I think, Randy, though, we hate it that way because of, like, if you really look at it, I thought about this. With the Denver Nuggets and the Toronto Raptors, those two franchises winning the way they did, and Milwaukee winning the way they, all that happened in the span of 5 years, 6 years, so we're there. The Knicks could win it. We're going to have the small market teams are winning. Now, in the NFL, not so much, but I think we're going to get there because times are changing. Like, if you think about the Olympics, if you actually think about if Joel Embiid actually plays for his actual team country versus the United States, they might lose anyway. So the world is catching up in that aspect as far as, college basketball, the NFL, and all those leagues here in the States. Teams, more. There's so much talent. The way the Lakers and the Celtics dominated, these kids that's coming up, they don't have the want to or even the understanding about those two traditions, and they don't look at the Cowboys, Niners, and just be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going there because of Ronnie Lott." They don't know Ronnie Lott from Ronnie Dupree. They don't know these people. They don't know from Ronnie Clark. They don't even know. They don't have the knowledge of the history. Like, so therefore, that's good for some kid that's looking at Halliburton play with Indiana Pacers. It's like, okay, new and exciting, or the Grizzlies. I think we're headed there. I think we're going to have a team, a small market team. We're already there in the NBA, but in the NFL, we're headed that way.
I think I'm agreeing with you, especially when it comes to basketball.
But isn't the Chiefs a small market?
Yes.
Kansas City.
Yes.
So we there. It was 50 years.
I would say that rich history would help them out.
I think so.
It was 50 years.
Green Bay.
They're smart market, but they got history.
I mean,
It's
also, but it's the fans and the loyalty. What makes the program so strong. Like basketball, Pacers, Grizzlies, Nuggets. These people, they support their teams just because you know, in the overall broad point of view, that it doesn't look like they're being supported. You got to think about the support they're getting from home. It's a lot.
Yeah, because I mean, like to your point about the Packers Flowers. I mean, Green Bay is like less than 100,000 people. I mean, yeah, sure, it's maybe an hour and a half from Milwaukee, but I mean that's one of the smallest franchises in North American sports. Well, smallest cities.
The stadium in a neighborhood.
Yeah,
and those teams like Kansas City, their fans don't travel like the Knicks fans or the Laker fans or the Celtic fans or the Sixer fans. Sixer fans travel too. They travel. You can hear them when they're somewhere. But I think
Blue Jay fans.
Yeah, that you got some fan bases. Cowboys are all over California. It's
they scattered.
Crazy.
But
So,
I mean, is that you know, the bandwagons? I mean, like, I'm surprised you're saying that Kansas City is not doesn't travel well, because I would think that a lot of 20-year-old girls are rocking Travis Kelce jerseys around USA, right?
Well, they traveling for sure.
In the Super Bowl, when they played the Niners in Las Vegas, there was Niners because you're right there in the backyard. The Niners travel. Like that's one thing I can say. They travel. Cowboys travel. Steelers travel. Like
historic teams travel. Like
man, they travel. They got empires everywhere, and so it's like the Packers definitely do. And so, I think, man, it would be great to see the Knicks win a championship because that's my mom's team, and then also that's Patrick Ewing, all those Warriors that came through that organization. I would love to see the Knicks get a championship.
Yeah, that would be something to see. And with my Raptors in the same division, that takes a lot out of me to say.
I think the Raptors would have.
You already had yours, Randy. You got to spread the world.
The Raptors would have went back. If Kawhi signs back with the Raptors, I believe they would have won another one. They were good,
right?
You know, if I didn't tell you guys this before, the Toronto Raptors won the championship at the absolute worst time in history, because the following year the world shuts down for COVID, and then they had to play the following season in Tampa, Florida, where fans were cheering for the other team, and you know they didn't get that true season of we are the champions. And I mean, like, before they shut down for COVID, they were at least tops in the Eastern Conference. This is obviously without Kawhi. And I don't know if they had a better record than the top teams in the West. But it was just an opportunity lost. You know,
that's what happened when hell freezes over. It happened when the Saints won the Super Bowl. Hell froze over 3 times in sports.
It wasn't enough celebrating for me. That wasn't enough.
I can honestly say, man, I was rooting for the Warriors because. The reason why I was rooting for the Warriors, I just wanted to see DeMarcus Cousins get a championship. And then once KD goes down, Clay was playing so well, and he gets hurt. It was just like what the Warriors was doing was so special and unique to me. I wanted to see. But then every it's like Kawhi hurt me. Kawhi would make all the big shots. Van Fleet would make all the big shots. I was so impressed by Siakam. They come back the next year with that same team and add some more pieces. They're going to win it again because they were tough.
Yep.
They were tough.
Okay. I mean, I think one big takeaway was that. Oh, sorry, please.
I'm about to say, I still can't believe Kawhi left, man. He would have had a free rent, free food, free everything for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to it. We're used to it.
I ain't mean to bring up old wounds, Randy. I ain't mean to do that.
No. Hey, I mean that's part of being a fan from Toronto.
Randy, you got to look at it like this though, man. There's a fan in Cleveland who will never see his team win an NFL championship. You cannot. I don't care how you got it. You got it. You know, it was 27 years before Michigan won another national championship. I don't give a damn about nothing else. I don't give a damn about nothing but the time. I don't give a nothing. I don't give a nothing but that one championship. You should hold that one championship up for as long as you can. Yeah, you will not be getting another one. Ain't another one coming to Toronto no time soon.
That
Unless
was
Vince
such
Carter had a son out there playing.
that was such an incredible time. Such an incredible time. And who knows what's going to happen? Can Scotty Barnes do it? Hey, I mean, RC, you have had the experience of your team winning the championship with being a Laker fan. And a lot of people are not really expecting it to happen this year, maybe next year. Who knows what's going to happen the year
Not
after?
that circus. Not that. You seen Randy? The whole time it wasn't about the team, about LeBron and Bronny. It was a freaking circus on Laker Media Day. Like my whole timeline was nothing but LeBron and Bronny. I was about to unsubscribe from some accounts. It was so much Laker stuff that I couldn't stomach it. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I don't know if I'm ready for this year with the Lakers because I already know it's gonna be LeBron and Bronny headline.
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying, RC. I mean, like as a Laker fan, I mean, what has your lead up been to this coming season? I mean, we haven't seen a preseason ball yet, but like, I mean, you must have been really hyped from years before, especially in those Kobe and Shaq years. And here it's going on this year.
So growing up, man, I picked my teams like I picked cereal. Didn't like great value cereal. I picked the best cereal. You know, the best cereal they had, Kellogg's, Raisin, whatever they had. I picked my teams just like that. I was in the era where the Niners were just coming off a championship. The Lakers were winning championships. So when I look at it now, it's kind of depressing because I know what's coming. They're going to have to rebuild post LeBron. If you've seen teams once LeBron leaves the team, it goes straight to the shitter. It's not going to be a good look. You're going to be in the negative. It's a complete circus. So I'm reading you this text message from my nephew. He's a Laker fan because of me, and I feel like this is some form of child abuse. He said, Uncle, when do you think the Lakers will win another championship? Will I be 30? He's 17 years old. He's asking me, will he be 30 before we win another championship? I told him, I said, to be honest with you, I won't be alive to see it because the Lakers
Wow.
You honestly think it's going to take that long?
Yes, because they have lost their even when Kobe was there, it was not like people want to beat the Lakers and the Celtics. Combined, they got all the championships, right? And so there is no love with, people. And I don't see a player that just says, I want to go play for the outside of Jason Tatum. He may be the one player that wants to go be a Laker after being a Celtic because he loved Kobe Bryant. But I don't see just players wanting to go save that organization. They may be the Clippers before it's all over with.
I bet it's different. I think if LeBron wasn't there, I think a lot more superstars be signed up to go to.
I think I'm with Swift on this one.
I don't think so.
I think so. Because DeMar DeRozan, look, he chose to go to the Kings. Like he had plenty of chances to go to LA, and he decided not to. Even Paul George, he went next door. It just seemed like they all going to LA.
Let me tell you why I think it's different now. It's who's running the organization. It's like Jerry Jones running the Cowboys. I think with the Lakers, first of all, you got to understand the pressure, the amount of pressure to play. You almost got to be perfect there, And then you come in behind Michael Jordan 2.0. Like, look at Chicago. The last championship, you got to walk past that statue to go in the stadium. It's almost like
that's a nice statue too. That's a nice statue.
Looks really nice.
The only statue outside the United Center is Jordan. But when you walk I've been to the state crypto, you're walking past Chick Hearns, you got Shaq, you got Magic, you got Kobe now.
Three Kobe statues.
Elgin Baylor. Yep.
Do you really want to live up to that? Is there a player that really want to go in there and be scrutinized that much? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, it seems that the Clippers are trying to do everything they can, and they just seem to stub their toe. I mean, Paul George is now gone, and Kawhi seems to can't shake the injury bug. I mean, what is it going to be? James Harden? Is it James Harden's team?
For James Harden. Why? Because this is what he wanted. He wanted another team, another chance, another opportunity for him to be ISO James, in my opinion. Now, hopefully, he comes out of that habit of dribbling the ball for 17 seconds in the shot clock, and then, trying to go left, make a play. But with Paul George leaving, it allows James Harden to be 1A or 1B to Kawhi Leonard, depending on how healthy Kawhi is. But it does allow James to be able to be himself.
But the bigger loss for them is Jerry West passing away. That voice and that mentor, every organization he built that. And if it does happen, I hate he won't get a chance to see it. But losing Jerry West is going to really hurt them because he has an eye for talent, and he really put that together and really saved the organization. So they're going to have a hard time replacing that.
Before we move on, because I know I came on like I was listening to your show, and I never even had a chance to go back and forth with Gatwood, but I know that he's a big James Harden fan. And I remember I dropped a comment on him, and he took it with in good spirits, of course. But RC, you were you say it again?
I said he almost blew a tire trying to. When you heard that comment, I'm glad he wasn't driving,
But RC, you were saying that you're a DeMarcus guy. DeMarcus, why?
Well, I think once again, I have those warriors, those guys that be stuck in oblivion and franchises and building franchises up. I want to see them get a championship. I would have loved to see Patrick Ewing win it for the Knicks. I would love to see Charles Barkley win it in Phoenix. I just have this thing for guys who go and be at an organization for a certain amount of years and never get their just due. And he was one of those guys stuck over in Sacramento, and he got an opportunity. He wasn't able to finish it. I was happy for Marc Gasol, if that was any constant. And I was happy for Kawhi, but I love seeing those guys like that win championships because they deserve it. So.
Well, and that's valid. That's valid because I think that there is something about DeMarcus staying in Sacramento, and it didn't really seem that he had. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't really seem that he had a lot of back and forth with his teammates. It was more so about the refs and the other team. So yeah, maybe. But I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was a little bit of I don't know if controversy is the right word, but obviously Vince Carter left a mark, a legacy in the city of Toronto. A lot of people say that he is the reason why we're seeing Canadian basketball at its peak, with stars in the NBA and emerging in the WNBA.
Most definitely.
But the big news was that the Brooklyn Nets announced that the team was going to retire Vince Carter's number 15 before the Toronto Raptors. What? And Swift, first of all, I don't know if you're aware, but did that make news in your neck of the woods? Because it certainly did here in Toronto.
I didn't see the Nets one. I knew about the Raptors, but the Nets? I mean, did he do enough for the Nets to retire?
Well, I guess that's I guess the big question, because it seemed, at least from my vantage point, that when Chris Bosh left to play in Miami, that he was getting more attention and love. Now, of course, when you're playing with LeBron James and you make the championship series in 4 straight years, you're going to get more attention. But the same could be said about DeMar DeRozan when he went to San Antonio, Chicago. I mean, did he get that kind of respect and love in the U.S. While he was in Toronto? Fred VanVleet as well. What do you guys think about Vince while he was in Toronto versus his time in New Jersey? I mean, was his spotlight more elevated?
Oh yeah.
In New Jersey?
No. It's more elevated.
Toronto.
This is not a debate. This is not up for debate. We can say that being here in the United States, I would easily think Vince, probably created hundreds and thousands of basketball players, in the country of Canada just from him playing alone. That's not far-fetched. Not far-fetched.
He's Jordan over there.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, that is in fact true, but how we feel here in Canada may be a lot different than the United States, right?
A lot of people don't even recognize Vince really with the Nets. Nobody really brings that up. Like,
well, we remember him with the Nets, but
yeah, but nobody ever really just speak on it.
We know when we think of Vince Carter, the first thought is going to be him in the Toronto Raptors uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's 3 statues they need to have outside of Toronto building, maybe 4. I would put Isaiah Thomas outside that building because he orchestrated and built and had an eye for talent for Tracy McGrady and Mighty Mouse, Marcus Camby. He really saw into the future with Tracy McGrady because I honestly, as a kid, I didn't think Tracy McGrady was going to be that good. Vince neither. I really thought Vince was just a dunker, and Vince came into the NBA and took the NBA by storm. But of course, Isaiah, Damian Stoudemire, and Vince Carter, because Damian Stoudemire, even though he held it down, like he was. I remember those Raptors jerseys. Them babies was clean. Like his era, them things were sharp, and I really think Carter. He did it. He's the guy, but it was some other guys too. Camby was really good in that uniform as well. So.
But the problem is, RC, is that all of those guys you mentioned, maybe with the exception of Vince, but I mean, of course, to a degree with Vince, left unceremoniously. Stoudemire wanted to leave. Isaiah didn't make it past the year Vince got drafted, which was 3-4 years in. Camby was out after a couple years.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Chris Bosh would not be in my top 5 in terms of greatest Raptors.
Wait, but Randy, how could I leave out Kawhi Leonard? His head should be on the front of the building like a Jaguar sign.
Yeah.
You gotta hear me when I say this though. You cannot be a top 5 player for your franchise by playing 1 year.
But it was a big year.
It was a
1 year,
absolutely. But
if
sustainability.
If Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl and never does anything else after that, I don't give a damn.
Right.
Just give me that one.
You got what you wanted. You got what you wanted.
As a fan, you win.
Yeah,
100%. However, I mean, and San Francisco's a bad example because you have the Montanas, the Rices, the Clarks. I mean, you can't. I don't think it's fair to put the Raptors and the 49ers, and of course, Toronto had some competitive teams before 2019, but they didn't make it past the conference finals. It took them a really long time to get them past the first round, but you think about the Van Vliets, the Lowrys, the DeRozans, the Siakams, and to a degree, Vince. I mean, yeah, I'm leaving out Kawhi. I'm leaving out Bosh because it's not always about winning. It is about loyalty to that organization as well.
I get that.
I mean, I think that's huge.
I think winning trumps everything, Randy, to be honest.
Do you remember Bargnani? They drafted Bargnani thinking Bargnani.
Sure, of course.
He was a 7 foot. He was Porzingis before Porzingis. And I just knew, they got one. And so historically, when I think about the Raptors, man, I would love to do like this, documentary biopic on the history of the Raptors and the Grizzlies, because it's funny that I'm sure Grizzly fans would love to have your burden that you had with that one championship and kept that organization, because, man, I go on YouTube sometime and hear some of the Grizzly fans and how they just miss basketball and wish it would come back. So it's Toronto honestly winning the championship and having that. They have something that Clippers don't have, who've had better players and, better rosters. They have something that a lot of teams don't have, that championship. So I get what you're saying, though. You want the loyalty.
Well, yeah, because I mean, obviously, we're going 6 seasons. I feels like yesterday, of course, but I mean, 6 seasons since the Raptors won, and yeah, sure, Kawhi left the mark, but I mean, since the Raptors have fallen from grace, I mean, sure, basketball is still strong, but is the support for the Raptors that strong outside of the province? And are we going to see some empty seats at Scotiabank Arena? I hope not, because it's going to be. They're predicting it to be a long year in Toronto. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
You should have never let Nick Nurse.
A long winter.
I was not a Nick Nurse guy.
He should have been able to retire.
Nah, for what? I mean, Dwayne Casey couldn't have led that team to the championship. I am not a Nick Nurse fan. I think Nick Nurse is a problem. I mean, like,
you're right about the Dwayne Casey.
Yeah,
I think that if you really want to get technical, Masai Ujiri is his name.
Yeah,
he should have a statue, because he continues to find brothers, African brothers, Nigerian brothers. He go get them. He can find them. He can, he's finding guys. Scotty Barnes, to me, is a poor man Scottie Pippen. Like he's finding guys who I didn't think they could do what they're doing. Like Siakam fell out of the sky like a raindrop. Like I did not see that, him turning into that. So it's a guy coming. He's gonna find another guy, and so I think they'll be competitive long as he's there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a couple of years, but I think there's a foundation. Quickly, I like Grady Dick. Scotty Barnes. I mean, I think that they got something there. Yeah. But would love to kick it with you guys with a little football, and hey, we're 5 weeks in, start of the week 5 in the NFL, and Swift. There's been some surprises, you could say. Did you think that the Vikings were going to start the year undefeated? Did you think that Jacksonville was going to see the bottom like they have?
Yeah, I knew Jacksonville. Yeah,
you did.
Jacksonville was not a surprise. I was never high on Trevor, and just seeing them play this year kind of confirmed everything I said about them. Now, the Vikings were definitely a surprise. I didn't see Sam Darnold coming in, doing what he's doing, but they do have a great defense. Aaron Jones, like I keep telling people this, Aaron Jones is the underrated signing of the year. He came in and rejuvenated that running game. He's a dog. He can catch the ball at the backfield, and he just brings another dynamic spin to the offense. And the way Andy Dalton putting the ball to Jefferson, I mean, they just doing it together. And the Vikings, with that defense behind them, they just taking over teams, bro. That's just it. It is what it is. The 49ers saw it. They threw different wrinkles at them. So that mean they for real. They for real.
So you guys think that Minnesota has what it takes to RC shaking his head?
He just bitter. He's one of them.
No, listen. I can't be bitter. Listen, I can't be as bitter as you, because they always kick your ass when it matters in the play. Me, they only beat me in the regular season. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not sold on it yet, because where the Saints, Cowboys, Niners, Colts, Steelers injured early, they haven't faced any adversity and injuries, and then also the quarterback that's in position has been out of football for a few years. There's not a lot of tape on him. And so by the time we get to week 10, 11, and 12, teams are going to be familiar with Andy Dalton. He's Andy Dalton's little brother. They're the same quarterback. They're going to be familiar with Sam Darnold again. And so now I can scheme. I watched Green Bay play a different style in the second half, and so did the Niners. We lost by 6 to them. The Texans got blew out. Them last two teams, the Niners and the Packers did not get blown out. So there's something.
The Packers should have. Well, the thing is also too, RC, the Vikings do not have TJ Hawkinson. They supposed to be getting him back. That's another weapon.
But what I'm saying, to me, if any 2-2 teams, if you're 2-2 right now, them the teams you put your money on late. Because what I notice about 2-2 is that means you took 2 L's, you had to go get 2 L's, you had to find yourself, you had to get up off the mat. Now, if you're 1-3, 1-2, that's different. But 2-2 is alarming. I would be worried that. But if you're 4-0, Can you keep that up? We saw the Eagles and teams like the Cowboys, because you're going to have, well, we're struggling now or other teams struggling now. When do you hit your wall? You get what I'm saying? So they'll hit a wall at some point, and we'll see them have to face adversity. But do you really, anybody kind of really think the Minnesota Vikings going to the Super Bowl? They're one of those 11.
No, not Super Bowl, but I think they have some here because they have a defense that can play and they fast, and they also have a running game. Those are one of the two things you really need, especially for a quarterback who's just not as a top 10 guy, caliber guy. But they have a defense that can go get takeaways, get to your quarterback, stop the pass, stop the run. And then, like I say, you have the run game that if Sam Darnold might not be on, they can run it down your throats. So defense, and the tight end, like I mentioned, tight end TJ Hawkinson, man, he's a guy that's hard to line up against.
Defense don't win championships. I'm willing to put a lot of money on.
You need them to keep you in games, though. They don't win championships, but you need one.
The Lions gonna win the division. Watch. The Lions gonna win the division. It's gonna balance out because the schedule too. You gotta think about schedules. Yeah. They're gonna put their tougher games late.
Well, we'll see. I'm not saying the Vikings win the division, but I think they have a legit chance of they can continue to beat these good teams and beat the sorry team. They have a good chance of making the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs. We got the extra seed. They'll definitely make the playoffs. They're gonna get higher.
Got the Cowboys not what they, and the Eagles are looking terrible. So we don't even know what the Cowboys gonna make the playoffs.
They're gonna make it. It's so early, man. It's so early.
I don't know. You can't, if you bad in the run, if you bad stopping the run, also bad running the ball, that usually don't.
Yeah, they can't run the ball, so that's gonna be hard for them to.
Yeah,
it's funny you guys say that, and as you guys know, I'm not overly versed in football, but I mean, I don't notice a run game these days. And you're saying that the run defense is critical in a championship.
Well, the two teams that played the Super Bowl, like your best teams in the league, they're balanced. Baltimore's balanced. When you're having to throw the ball a bunch, like he made a point about Minnesota, but you got to go watch Minnesota. They don't run the ball as much as the best teams in the league. And that guy Aaron Jones fumbles. He definitely fumbles when we play. He fumbles, and so.
And he hasn't fumbled yet.
Yeah, he fumbled in my game, sir. I'm telling you, just take a watch it.
Did he lose the fumble or he fumbled? Y'all recovered from? I remember seeing that.
It was pushed out.
Y'all recovered?
Yeah, we recovered it. So the best teams right now in the league, they can do both equally well or balance. And so if you're Jacksonville, who's throwing the ball every play, you're in trouble. But I don't really see where, the NFL is hard, man. If you're a betting man, it's hard from week to week to know what you're gonna see. Because I could say that, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars run for 200 yards this week. So just never know.
You ain't gonna see it.
No, they're not winning this week because they're desperate.
Yeah.
Who they have this week?
They play Indianapolis.
Oh, they taking the Colts? No,
I'm taking the Colts.
I mean, I would too, but don't be shocked if Jackson. I mean, that's how the league goes. Like RC telling you, teams that they'll be on a momentum wave, and then they hit a wall and they plateau and they have to refigure themselves out. For instance, you take Buffalo and Baltimore last week, right? Buffalo is a great team that's coming in. Baltimore get themselves out, and they clash. And you see Baltimore is still probably one of the best teams in the league.
Dominated them.
But, against y'all, I ain't worried about old Doom that oversells his receivers. So your corner, 40 should have a couple picks.
I agree, but my secondary, just say, for instance, they're young. I expect them to have a good game, but injuries, like I said, and then you got a team that's 0-4 that's hungry for a win. Livelihoods are at stake, jobs are at stake. So I mean, look, I expect Jacksonville to come out and play. Put your money on Jacksonville.
Don't listen to RC. Don't put no money on Jacksonville.
Well,
Don't want my tickets. I mean, I look. This is coming from a Colts fan. I'm just being honest with you. Like we haven't beaten Jacksonville. You got to look at things like that also.
I'll say this, Flowers.
Yeah.
With how Jacksonville defense been standing on the field, I just don't see them stopping y'all. That secondary has been terrible too. They haven't getting any pressure on quarterbacks. So if y'all are able to control the line of scrimmage, then I think JT's gonna be out, so Trey Sermon might be able to be the guy to step up. But I can still see y'all having our way in that game. Like I said, it had to be dynamic. It had to be something crazy from Trevor, but turnovers, maybe missed field goals.
Have you not learned anything from previous weeks of football? Expect the unexpected. I think that's what he's saying. He's saying don't be surprised if they do.
But if I had put money on the game, if somebody told me, yo, Ben, you gotta make a bet versus Colts and Jaguars, I'm gonna take the Colts.
I'm probably not gonna bet, or I'm gonna bet the other way.
Do you think people really thought that the Colts were gonna beat Pittsburgh last week?
Not at all.
I picked the Colts.
I know you did.
The majority.
Okay.
The majority did not think that the Colts were going to beat Pittsburgh.
Did you think Tampa Bay was going to blow out the Eagles after beating y'all?
They blew out the Eagles last week. So last year. So I took Tampa Bay. Cause I knew I saw them play against us. I'm like, that's not a good team. Like it's all that. Yeah, I already magically knew Tampa gonna blow them out again. Not like that, maybe, but I knew they were gonna win.
You lost to a bad team that held you to. But this is my point. The NFL. It stands for not for long. So you may be good. You could be. There's no way the Rams beat the 49ers with nothing. That makes sense, right? So
they know y'all.
I wouldn't shock. I would be shocked, man. I would be shocked.
Good. Let me just feel like this NFL. Good teams just don't falter against bad teams. Like that's what separates the good from great teams. The good teams, you think they're gonna be on one week, then they fall to a no name. But great teams, they take care of business on Sunday. That's what separate champions.
Let me go off of what you just said.
Who the great team did? Who the great team?
This year, it's just a lot of injuries, and a lot of teams are they injury prone right now. So a lot of teams not full health.
It's a lot of teams that lack consistency. So so you can't expect these teams to consistently win week to week. That's why there's so many loopholes, because there's no consistency with these teams, and there's too many young teams. That's probably the main thing. Too many young quarterbacks. Too many young quarterbacks.
And if you
look at your previous year, remember the Saints. Remember when we had Drew Brees, we were going out and swacking people. Cause we were a really good team.
No, listen,
and we didn't just lose against bad teams like that.
20 years, yes, you did, because you went to the playoffs and lost to a bad Niners team. I'm telling you, 20 years.
Now y'all had
20 years.
We went to Levi Stadium and lost. We didn't travel very well.
That's
why we always wanted to Super Bowl.
Back in the day, the seating was cracked, but because y'all should have been playing at home. But my point is that the Lions wasn't expected to be that good early on, and the Chiefs lose that first game. If you go back to the early Cowboy years and Niners years, they were losing to teams they shouldn't have lost. We lost to the Lions in '95. I will never forget that. Losing to, you're gonna have that blink on your record where it's like, dang, how did you lose to that team? And so think about it. The Broncos beat the Chargers twice. I mean, the Broncos beat the Chiefs last year, handled them, And so that's my point. You're gonna have
but the Chiefs, like I said, Chiefs wasn't a great team last year.
But they won the Super Bowl, so that
they won the Super Bowl. Hey, it's something called Taylor Swift effect. But at that time, they were struggling against everybody, and I think they wasn't a great team at that very moment. They hit their stride. I don't know what they found. They found some baby oil maybe, but they found something. They hit their stride.
They beat every team, every best team down the stretch. They beat Buffalo in Buffalo. They beat the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the 40. I mean, that's the three best teams down the stretch. You beat the Avengers with the last team. They were great.
What was the game? No, what was the game that Tony lined up all sides? I mean, they didn't. They could call that. The refs did help them out. Let's be real. The refs did help them out in some of them games last year too.
I needs a little luck here and there.
Now it wasn't look. He handed him a couple bills on the side.
That's-
The bills were named Luck, huh?
Everybody needs a little luck here and there.
No, you know,
Yeah.
I really enjoy all the back and forth and everything. And you know, very quickly, you know, I did want to I wanted to ask you guys about how teams are, you know, structuring their stars, and if you want to call it stars. I mean, you guys were brushing up on young quarterbacks and so on, and I mean, the majority of, well, I'm going down the list here. I mean, who is the top money earner that's not a quarterback? I don't.
What, Justin
I don't
Jefferson?
even.
Justin
Is
Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson on there?
Yeah, I'm scrolling down here, and I'm
CMC?
seeing.
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa,
But
TJ
Oh
Watt.
wait,
Didn't
these are
TJ Watt
all.
get paid?
Sorry. Yeah.
TJ Watt.
Well, actually, you know what? I got a bad website here, but what I am saying, what I am saying is that you know, you got Trevor Lawrence making 275 mil. You got Jordan
Wow.
Love, who's way unproven, that making 220. Dak
Yeah.
hasn't won anything at 240.
They got to pay somebody.
I hate
Yeah.
that. I hate that though. Why do I have to pay a quarterback that's not doing anything for me? Like Trevor, for example, dude haven't done anything, so I had to pay him because that's the only guy that's on the roster, or he may be the future. When I don't get that.
But I mean, this has been
like
happening
Daniel
since
Jones.
March.
I could find another Daniel Jones. I can't find one on the street, matter of fact. So why do I need to pay Daniel Jones? I could have kept Saquon or drafted another quarterback. It just don't make no sense to me. And that's why these teams are in these holes like this, because they pay these unproven quarterbacks. Like Dak, of course, he hasn't won anything, but we don't deny his abilities and his stats. Like he can move the ball. He can get the ball down. He can score you touchdowns. But some of the other guys like Trevor, Daniel, come on now. Jaden Daniels is having a better career than Daniel Jones and Trevor put together.
But I mean, we've been seeing this for years and for decades. I mean, Flowers, maybe you were a little too young to remember Jamarcus Russell. When,
Right.
but like, I'll never forget. You know, I was pretty enamored with the name, but you know, just to you know, to be first overall, and I mean, this is what at a time when, well, I mean, it was first overall. It was Oakland, not LA Raiders.
Yeah, it was Oakland.
Sorry. But he was just basically never heard from again. Achilles Smith, and you think about Rick Meyer, and you know, I mean, these guys were. Yeah, I mean, just these teams are willing to shell out big dough for their quarterbacks. Do you think that is going to change? I mean, like, I guess wideouts are not going to be the tops until they have a true gunslinger on their side, right?
I can answer this question in many ways, because first and foremost, we can't say it has changed. We go back 20 years. They used to give out contracts to first round draft picks. Used to be 6-7 year deals, fully guaranteed, and they got, you know, $40-50 million in the first deal. So you had a lot of quarterbacks, per se, first round picks that, you know, guaranteed 6-year deals. They changed it, let's say, after Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, they changed the rules after Jamarcus Russell and company. They changed it to 5-year, 4 years, 5th-year option, and it's a fully guaranteed deal. So say if you got drafted with the number 1 pick, they sign you for 4 years, $34 million plus the extra year, and then they can still franchise you for 2 years. So there's a lot of control with the quarterback. As far as the market in general, the quarterbacks will never stop being the highest paid players, because they control, you know, the majority of the game. You know, they touch the ball.
Yeah.
Now, in my honest opinion, they need to find the cap, you know, for how much they paying these quarterbacks. But I say that, and then we see baseball players making $300-400 million guaranteed. We see basketball players making $300 million guaranteed. Now you see soccer players around the world making $100 million a year. So, why should I try to cap off what these players are making? But if you're going by a salary cap league or a salary cap structure, what quarterbacks are making are probably taking up about 15-20% of the cap. So
Sure.
it causes, limited spending in some parts of the roster, and some of the roster suffers depending on the team and the personnel. So if you don't have a quarterback that per se, like you're paying Trevor Lawrence $275 million and they're 0-4, you start asking yourself, what's the point when he doesn't, seem to cope with controversy and, prevailing his team through controversy as well we've been seeing. But in the hindsight of that, Randy, prior to them signing Trevor to that $275 million, they had 5 years to look at him. So we can't blame Trevor Lawrence for taking that money opportunity when the Jacksonville Jaguars had 5 years to look at him, and they deemed him worthy enough to, be the leader of that franchise because they've had success with Trevor Lawrence. But now you're seeing the hindsight of maybe Trevor Lawrence is not the guy. So hell, I'm kind of conflicted, So
Please go ahead.
I was about to say, Flowers. I don't know if you remember, but we came up with this idea. Maybe quarterbacks need to have their own separate cap.
Yeah, they need to pay them off the book. Yeah, they need to pay quarterbacks off the book. It shouldn't count towards the cap. They should be able to pay them whatever they want to pay them. So they would have a fair share of building these rosters to make them better. We did have a conversation about that, and I still do stand by that, Swift.
They'll never do that because they don't want all teams created equal. You don't want heaven in football. You want parity. You want really bad team. You got to have a really poor team. They don't want that. So my thing about this whole thing when it comes to quarterback and they have to pay somebody, it's a barbaric sport. I mean, a lot of these guys have a lot of health issues post-football. So what they're doing is, you go back to the early days before any of us even existed, the barbarians, the Roman Greek guy, the fighting in the middle and the killing. People were watching that. So that it has evolved to football. If you really look at two men clash and Flowers knows he played, that's constant. That's not a normal reaction. It's not two Rams. Rams are made to do that, right? Humans are doing that. So they're giving the dough because that's upfront money for the controlled chaos. So when I see quarterbacks get paid and receivers get paid and running backs get paid, it's for my entertainment. They're doing that for my entertainment purposes. Like, I'm watching them put their lives on the line for me. You know what I'm saying? So they deserve every damn penny they get. I have no issue or cause about it.
No, and believe me when I say that it's not about whether they deserve the money or not, because I think about $275 million for Trevor Lawrence. And how much sacrifice is a lineman going through when they bash themselves into each other every single play, right? And what's their contract?
I would say, RC, I wouldn't say we not saying not give these guys the money, but it's more like you hurting yourself when you pay quarterbacks like Trevor. You're hurting your team as a whole, and eventually your staff or you gonna get fired because you're not producing. So it's back to like, do we want to win or do we just want to pay Trevor because he's the guy and we have nobody else in house? And it's kind of like a joke. It's kind of like a joke. I thought about this when I was coaching flag football. My quarterback threw like 4 interceptions, and I remember looking at him. I was about to say, "You better glad I had no quarterback on the roster because he'll be starring right now." That's the whole thing. Like, if we had a guy in house, then it'd be like simpler. But since they don't, they had to pay Trevor. And I think that a lot of teams end up putting themselves in holes because they're like, who else? So
is that
that guy?
The guy that drafted Trevor Lawrence. See, this is the issue I have with this. And that's why you got to be careful. It's called lazy analysis. Like, you're being a lazy analyst when you just hear something someone else say and then you repeat it and you really don't do your homework on it. If you think about Urban Meyer drafted Trevor Lawrence to play in a certain style offense. The same offense, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins, all those guys at Ohio State, even Tim Tebow ran an offense, right? And so he leaves. Then they bring in another regime. And they're running a different style. They're running a Nick Foles, something that Nick Foles could run, maybe Trevor Lawrence can't run. It don't fit him. I think the quarterback, they need to get rid of the quarterback record and putting it all on the quarterback. It's kind of like having how some people do their preacher. You put him up there, God didn't. So if you putting this quarterback, hold him in high regard, and he lets you down, you created an expectation which is unrealistic because that actual player isn't put in a position to actually thrive and succeed. Brock Purdy, for example, best position in football. You can put every quarterback in the NFL in that position and he will thrive. Everyone. Because the coach, the organization, the skill players, everything's in place. Put Brock Purdy in Jacksonville, he's Trevor Lawrence. He's getting his brains knocked out. He's making bad decisions.
RC, was Lawrence not make the playoffs? And you talk about Doug Pearson, he had Carson Wentz playing lights out. He had the whole playing lights out. So I think you play some blame.
No. You have a boss right now, don't you? Don't you have a boss?
Yeah.
At your job. Mm-hmm. If you change, I've had at my job, in my position, I've been there 7 years. I've had 5 different voices. They don't all say the same thing. They don't all have the same expectations. They don't all have the same criteria. So when you change, we're humans. See what I'm saying? And so I'm not saying.
But does it not get? But wasn't some bosses better than the others?
What the one he had was sleeping with. The one he had was posted up with young girls. I can't do nothing about that.
He had P for 2 years, but that's what I'm saying.
Come on, man.
Are some bosses not better than others? If last boss is better than the other one, then you should be thriving. He playing into your abilities, but you're not producing, and that's what we're seeing. He's not producing.
Trevor, unique situation.
Look, the media painted a picture of Jamarcus Russell, and we all ran with it, right? It's kind of
he didn't study it. Like he painted the perfect picture.
Stephen A. Smith painted a picture of Kwame Brown. We just run with bust. We run with bad. There's never been a number 1 pick who went to the worst team. Even Peyton Manning goes to the Colts and throw 28 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? Until the regime comes in and kind of corrals it and has structure and has a clue and an idea, you're gonna look bad in public. Right. You're not gonna
So you saying coaches and GMs and scouts are listening to Stephen A. Smith? They
do.
Help persuading. Stephen A. is persuading an NFL scout on what he's seeing in the court.
Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, those guys talking. Down
they there for a reason. This is not a head coach. It's not Bill Belichick giving his analysis. This is Stephen A. Nobody listens. No NFL scout.
You gotta touch, bro. You don't realize them dudes have sway in the building. I'm gonna tell you why. That's how Trey Lance got drafted. That's how JJ McCarthy moved up the draft board.
They saw potential. That's how Trey Lance got drafted. Because Josh Allen didn't have an offer at Wyoming. So that's what I'm saying. Like these guys, they taking when they say a big quarterback with a big arm, they just gush over. They love it. Cause they think all about the possibilities they can do with that guy. So that's why Trevor Lawrence was drafted. Cause they saw the intangible. They're like, oh, that might be Colin Kaepernick 2.0. Hey, so he got a big arm.
The best quarterback in Saints' entire history was Drew Brees. And the Saints been playing football for well over how many years? 50, 100 years? How many years you been playing football?
Since 1963.
So let's say 60 years. We say 60 years. They got one quarterback in 60 years. So you think it's the quarterbacks that came through there, or you think it's the organization?
Yeah, we were bad at draft. Like it was like a curse. We didn't have any guy. Our coaches. We had Mike Dicker. Look, think about it. We had Mike Dicker give up a whole draft for Wiki Williams.
My point is that you're making a point.
Like our quarterbacks, our history of quarterbacks are not that good. They just wasn't good at all.
Point. Jacksonville ain't got a history of it either. Jacksonville got Mark Reynolds.
But Jacksonville, You talking like Trevor Lawrence never had success. He had success.
Well, in Ben's defense, RC, at least Jacksonville has a history of at least going to the AFC
Mark
Championship.
Brunell, come on now. And then we even think about when salary cap came into effect. You know what I'm saying? So all the good teams were getting all the good players, but all the bad teams like the Saints were
salary cap league though. So
yeah.
I think
When did the salary cap hit? What year was it? It was not 19
80s, 90s, somewhere in there.
80s and 90s. Like so, these teams with history were getting all the best players again, and so they're like, hey, we gotta put a stop to this lit. So the Saints never had a chance from the get-go being a small market.
Oh, I gotta correct you on that though.
He got a touch. He was a Patriots fan anyway. You got
No, we never had doggone chance.
If we go back to the 70s and 60s, these teams they drafted and they built, from the ground up. So we can't knock, Dallas, Green Bay, Chicago.
But I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just saying like us being a small market, we
agency like they do now.
Yeah.
That's not the reason why the Saints were bad.
They wasn't gonna play in New Orleans. We had Dempsey. We had Dempsey on the cover.
Well, hold on.
Missing a half a foot. He was our headline guy, a kicker, Mike Dempsey.
But before Flowers continues, New Orleans isn't a top market to go to. I mean, like I hear that it's obviously one of the great Super Bowl locations and so on. I'm a little surprised that New Orleans is a small market team.
Bad management ruins good players. Traditionally, listen, man. I can use the Chicago Bulls for example. Post Michael Jordan, every player they drafted went somewhere else and was great. Okay.
See, look, RC is pro player. Nothing a player does is their fault.
But listen,
RC. So do you not believe? Do you?
Artest,
so
Jimmy
is there
Butler,
such thing as bad players? RC. Is there such thing as bad players?
Tyson Chandler, Ron Artest,
Jimmy Butler.
They leave and go have careers other places because of bad management. Listen, I'm pro player because I understand there's two sides to this thing. The Maple Leafs aren't bad just because of the players. Great organization. Let me explain something to you. I'm gonna make a point for you.
You gotta have peanut butter. You gotta have peanut butter and jelly to make a sandwich. Or you gotta make
an organization.
That's both sides to this. Bad players and bad organizations. It's just not black and white like that.
It's three things. Yes, it is. It's three things that make an organization great. Drafting a player to develop a player. Okay, bring a player in first, second, or third round. He drafts. You draft. You develop. The 49ers.
So I got a quick question, RC.
They're drafted.
I got a quick question.
They're not free outside of Christian McCaffrey. They're not going to get free agents to save that roster. That roster is built through the draft. Okay.
RC, I got a quick question.
Traditionally draft with. What are you trying to say, man?
All right, RC, you're a coach, right? You're a coach. Have you ever coached a bad team before?
Yes.
How they lost? How you coached a team with a losing record before?
Yes.
So you're a bad coach. You're the reason.
It was coaching and it was players. First of all, bad coaches pick bad players.
Yep.
Okay? Because you don't have knowledge of what it is when you don't have a general idea, when you look at good teams, they have a specific type of player they want within their program. Nick Saban is the prime example of building a great roster. He did not want small running backs. He always got big running back. He stuck to the blueprint and the business model. Bad teams do this. Watch this. Bad teams do this. Oakland Raiders go up and draft a lineman because he run fast. That's what bad teams do. Robert Gallery, you remember the combine Flowers? Go draft Robert Gallery because he run fast. Not
Who
because he
was in that draft?
Darius Hayward-Bay. He was the fastest player in the draft. Went up and reached.
Oakland loves speed.
So,
that's what Oakland known for.
But he can't cut. He couldn't catch. You know what I'm saying? You gotta actually do the actual job, and that is scout, develop, and then also you don't. I think the problem with Jacksonville and Cleveland's of the world is Cleveland's had 36 different types of quarterback. It can't be just the quarterback. It has to be the organization and having an idea about what you want to do. I just don't like putting all on the player.
Nobody putting all but on the player. I'm just saying hold players accountable for not playing up to what they should be playing.
I'm holding. There you go. There you go. That's what you want.
Play up to the caliber. It's just like any other coach. If you expect your player and you know his ceiling, you know that he can do the job, but he's just not doing it, then it's not on you. It's on the player for not reaching their full potential, for half-stepping it, for not maximizing what God-given ability they have. And that's all I'm saying. Like, some of these players are not, they fine with that. Once they get paid or once they get to a certain position, they get comfortable. So it's not always on coaching. Some players get comfortable.
Well, some players are not put in the position, and some not given the opportunity.
I'm saying the guys that get there, some of them get comfortable.
But what about
and they don't put in the same work?
I would love to see you in that environment, because you make it sound so easy that you could just, as an individual, hold on. You make it sound like you could, no matter what your environment you put in, you could just be great around bad.
It's up to you. I feel like it's up to you.
If it's 11 guys, it takes 11 guys to have a great offense. If one guy ain't on his day, having a bad day, two guys having a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day. Mm-hmm. Like I saw play earlier about Deshaun Watson, and I was incorrect. I actually went and watched the cut up. YouTube will give you cut ups of players. I go watch Deshaun Watson, and I'm watching players trying to catch the ball and hitting it up, and so the opposite team picks the ball off. So, but that still counts as an interception, even if it touches your hands and bounces off your hands, or running bad routes, or just not playing with the level of intensity to want to win or succeed or win on the route. It's more going into it than just quarterback is hard, man. It's hard.
We understand, but we're talking about the chances that he do get when he do get enough time, when the pocket's clean. What do he take? What do he make of those chances? That's what it's all about. Being a player is what you're doing with the chances you're given. It's up to you to make those plays.
And the support.
Yeah,
the support, because
if the tackle, you think a coach will crucify a quarterback if the O-line is just playing garbage? Yeah, they're gonna say it's the O-line. They're gonna say, we gotta get these guys some help. That's what with the Saints. They knew Derek Carr needed time, so they fixed the O-line. They said, okay, Derek Carr, he has some issues, but the O-line is playing terrible. He's not putting this all on Derek Carr. It's the O-line. So let's fix the O-line. So when Derek Carr get his chances and don't make up for the chances he do get, then we can say, Derek Carr, he having lapses. Yeah, he doing this. He not taking advantage of the chances that he gets. That's what great players do. They take advantage of opportunities they get to make plays. What they say, big time players make big time plays. I don't want my quarterback, when he get the chances, make the big time play, make the right throws, make the right read. Not other coaches around me, because it's easy to blame people. It's easy to blame people when things are not going right. When things are going wrong, you're gonna place blame. But I want my guy to say, I might not be in a perfect situation, but I gotta still go out there and perform. I still gotta go out there and do my thing.
But they only have
that's what sports is all about. It's a team thing, and that's what separates the greats from whoever's not great, because they know that everything's not in football. Everything's not gonna go great. Everything's not gonna go perfect. That's the mindset you gotta have. Everything's not gonna be always perfect, so you gotta make those chances count.
I'm a team guy. When I coach my players, when I'm talking to players, I don't believe in if we lose a game and a kid misses a shot, I don't put that on that kid.
It's what leads up to it.
We shouldn't have even been in that position. We should not have even put you in that position. You know, and I feel like my thing is in sports, one thing I'm learning about this era of sports is we're too highly critical of that position and other positions, because I don't think it should be a stat that says Jimmy Garoppolo is 16-0. That's stupid to me, because it's the 49ers are 16. You know what I'm saying? You 16-0, but then that offensive lineman you talking about, they never mentioned. They never mentioned that he gave the protection and the time for him to be able to make the plays. Along the road to being sick, along the road to having a winning record, the team has to be good for the record to be good. I think.
How many times I just brag on Drew Brees? I feel like they point out quarterbacks because they make the most money. They usually the face of the franchise, so they get all the credit. But real sports fans know that it was the O-line. Like I love Drew Brees, but I don't always give him the credit for the Saints' victories. That our defense was great. Man, we had like 4 Pro Bowls on that line. We had Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush, Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush. Like it was a collective thing, and I think, like I said, sports fans, they take it too far and they like blame the quarterback for everything. But I think it should be spread around everywhere. You figure out what's wrong with your
and
team,
the wealth.
fix it.
And the wealth,
right? Spread the money. Tell the quarterback spread the money around. But with the that's what I tell my quarterback. But anyway, like if you see something wrong with your team, fix the problems. And if you still having problems, then you gotta assess your other positions. That's how I feel like. And right now with the Browns, that line hasn't always been bad. They dealing with injuries, and I think that people are frustrated with Deshaun because he's supposed to, I want to say, mask some of the inefficiencies on that team, but he's supposed to do something. We saw Baker; they let Baker go because of his issues and stuff with the coach, but they're expecting Deshaun to be better than that, and just not working out. And it's probably best for both parties to split and Deshaun go find another job and maybe he can.
I don't think they should release
his career.
I think they should stop releasing the salaries and saying how much they make because
that's stupid. I think
that plays a role into it as well. If I tell you that if Brock Purdy gets $300 million and then he goes out and have 5 bad games, automatically I'm feeling like I'm being cheated. If you play sports at the highest level and compete and competitive, the person across from you make $300 million as well. Like you don't think the people that's playing against Trevor Lawrence know how much he make and he's the golden boy and they don't want to knock him on his ass? It's crazy. So it's a tough job, man. It's a tough job.
And I know but think about it as a GM, I know it's super tough. How you paying a quarterback $250-some million and it's an investment. You playing with the owner's money, you investing. And you're not seeing a turnover, huh? Yeah,
I've
always putting out. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, just to put a cap on it. I mean, I've always wondered, if I was making $81 million and Flowers was making 83. Wouldn't I be salty at Flowers because he's making $2 million more? Like, I mean, if we were, $2 million is still $2 million.
Randy, you playing better than Flowers. You playing better than him.
I don't know about that. No,
that's crazy.
You haven't seen me throw a ball. I'll tell you that right now. But you know what?
Yeah, that's kind of weird though. It's just like you're supposed to tell your coworker how much you make because it might cause some riffraff.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah. But I feel like if your corner getting beat every time, you the other corner, you like, man, he making $5 more million than me, and he getting torched every play. Then, me, I don't care about money like that, so it wouldn't really bother me. But I know some guys, I bet be in the back of their mind, like, dang, we paying this guy. I play better.
That would piss the hell out of me. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm playing better than that guy.
But you know what, guys? I do want to cap things with a little back and forth on what I like to call straight facts, bro. Relax. And basically, how this is going to work is that I'm going to drop a statement on you, and you're going to either agree by saying straight facts, or you're going to disagree by saying bro. Relax. Okay. Swift, I got to tell you that that bumper is just absolutely crazy. I think I need to drop the volume a little bit, but we'll see how it goes on the replay.
I can edit it for you and drop the volume for you.
Yeah, that because I just simply announced it in my previous episodes, but now I got a little something there. That is sick. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. But Flowers, I was originally going to ask you about Derrick Rose because he has just retired, and you'd have to think that the Chicago Bulls are going to retire his number one. But as the Karl-Anthony Towns trade went down, I was wondering if the Minnesota Timberwolves would get to a point to retire Karl-Anthony Towns' number 32. Karl-Anthony Towns having his number retired by the Minnesota Timberwolves as after he retires. Straight facts or bro relax?
Bro, relax. I gotta say,
Hell no.
he hasn't done anything. I mean, at least if we bring up Derrick Rose's name, he won an MVP. He mixed and to the organization. He's a homegrown body. He's from Chicago. So, it means a little more in that sense. But Karl-Anthony Towns, can we ever say he's ever been the best player on the team when he's had somebody like Jimmy Butler or Anthony Edwards? Part when he was the alpha, they didn't make the playoffs. So I say, bro, relax.
I think the argument that I have is that, I mean, how long did Jimmy Butler stick around in Minnesota?
Andrew Wiggins was there too.
I mean, Andrew Wiggins. I mean, was Andrew Wiggins at that? I mean, Andrew Wiggins never made an All-Star game with Minnesota.
And we know what
Karl-Anthony
now that he's out of Minnesota, he's never been the guy, and that makes what you saying that makes my point more relevant because when he had Andrew Wiggins and people like that, Karl-Anthony Towns has never taken the opportunity to grasp that organization and take it over like Ant-Man did. Ant came in and established himself as the dog, the alpha, and Karl-Anthony Towns fell in line.
He called him the son.
I definitely get what you're saying. Sorry, Swift, you were.
No, I was just saying. Anthony Edwards called Towns, and I think it was Gobert his sons. He said, "I got my son with me."
I definitely get what you're saying for sure, but I think there's going to be a time when the Toronto Raptors retire DeMar DeRozan's number 10.
Almost definitely.
How long DeMar DeRozan was with the Raptors?
He was,
but isn't it the same amount of time as Karl-Anthony Towns been with Minnesota?
He was more the guy.
Much impact. I don't feel like Towns had much impact as DeRozan.
The impact to me
in Toronto.
Me looking at their careers in those places, I just feel like DeRozan did and meant more to Toronto than what Karl-Anthony Towns meant to Minnesota.
That's
I really do.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'll tell you right now, Vince may be the greatest Raptor, but I think DeMar's the most loved.
Yeah.
I think Karl-Anthony Towns is like Walmart. One side of it is the pharmacy, the other side is groceries. I mean, it's in there. I mean, he was there. I mean, you're not gonna miss him. I promise you. But he was there. When he got hurt, they didn't miss him. Am I lying?
No,
I don't think so.
That's why they got rid of him so easily because you got Nas Reed sitting on the bench that can do what Karl-Anthony Towns can do, and he's cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, because it was so long for Minnesota to win those series. And I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns, it must have been over a decade since he's been in Minnesota, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so he stayed with the team and, I would have thought that he'd be quite revered. I mean,
he's not looked at as Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett was,
of course, sure, but maybe second most loved Timberwolf. Second most loved Timberwolf.
Look how, but you gotta look at
Anthony Edwards aside. I mean, in terms of
aside, I mean, you might can say people probably would like Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell better than Karl-Anthony Towns.
Right.
Minnesota, come on.
Yes, especially Latrell Sprewell.
They were there for a small time though. Like they was there a year, maybe 2 years. I think Minnesota's so over there.
They love Anthony Edwards more than Townsend right now.
No, sure.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying that Ant only been there a couple of years and he already surpassed Towns.
But I guess what Randy's saying, we're saying that from our perspective, for Minnesotans, I hope I'm saying that correctly, they probably see it totally different because they ain't had very many good players come through there. So
Yeah,
he's probably held to higher up.
He'll get a standing ovation at games when he retire.
because I'll tell you this: if Chris Bosh gets his number 4 retired, it's because of what he also accomplished in Miami.
Oh yeah.
Because he didn't accomplish anything here in Toronto. So maybe to your point, there's probably more validity to what you just said, Flowers. So RC, I mean, we're seeing quite a bit of international activity with the National Football League. They went to England, they went to Germany this season. A couple of weeks ago, they went to Brazil, and I have to think that they're going to keep the international bus rolling. And we are seeing it, of course, in South America and in Europe. Are they that really far away from playing a regular season game in Africa? Are they really that far away playing in Australia?
Man, listen.
The NFL playing a regular season game in Australia and Africa. Straight facts or bro relax.
Australia for sure. For sure, but Africa, relax, bro. That'll never happen, man. You gotta understand where we're at and who the owners are. Okay, think about the owners that we have made that transition where these are the same owners that blackballed Colin Kaepernick out of their league for doing something that he was doing for within his community. It had nothing to do with anything about anything. So to be that proactive and be willing to go to Africa. To the NBA do it because the NBA is proactive. It's a player-driven league. The players run that league. The players have a lot of say-so. But in the NFL, it's still the owners. And a lot of owners there are set in their own ways, like old politicians. You hear what I'm telling you? Think about old politicians with old laws and old rules and old mindsets. Like, it's not far-fetched because Roger Goodell is a forward thinker, but he's a figurehead. He's like the president of the United States. He can get overruled at any time. He's just in the position. Everybody under the position had to say so. It has to be voted on. So Australia, yeah, Africa, relax, bro. Hell no. Hell, that ain't happening, bro.
But RC, think about it for a second. South Africa is really into rugby.
Yeah.
And they have the facilities to, have a game. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some sort of NFL following in South Africa. I think I wouldn't be surprised. I completely get what you're saying. The struggle and so on. South Africa, I think, is a different kettle of fish.
It's not about the struggle. It's about the ignorance of. It's kind of like the video that Jamie Foxx released of the way that Jerry Jones was speaking about black men. It's not about that. It's about it's a history of a way of. It's a superiority complex. That's the perfect word. Losing this whole aura of having control of something and taking it to Africa when you got all these other options. Africa will be the last spot.
What option?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would be very
surprised because the NFL, they try to be more progressive in their way of thinking and way of doing things. They always holding events for different charities, and now we see even more African players playing NFL. So they'll give teams more time to scout that region and find even more prospects in the African country. Because, like I said, we got players that's from Africa that play in NFL right now. So they'll give them, they'll bring in more money, more viewership, and definitely more prospects.
Kevin Garnett said anything's possible, but
right.
I think they got a lot more options before South Africa.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Like what? I mean, the NFL. I mean, beyond the United States,
they gonna keep going to what was that? Germany. They love Germany. They love England,
and they love American football in Germany and England 100%. But I don't know if it's fair to compare, but I don't think the planting a seed and having kids in Brazil follow, have a game in Brazil, and then it's going to develop like Brazil. I mean, there are a lot of parts of that country that is quite impoverished, right?
Right.
Mhm.
I don't think that was so much for the growth of
Right.
new players,
Right. Right.
right?
But
I'm
It's eyes. The NFL want the eyes.
Yeah.
sure.
and you got to think about this. We're seeing it from a fan perspective. To make the move to Brazil, we don't know. It's some big talks and big wigs having big conversations about different things. Like I don't like you can. I don't Brazilian players like translating to NFL. Just wanting to watch NFL football. It was an opportunity that was presented by somebody higher up, and it was a lot of money made. But that's why I say with South Africa, if the money right, yeah, they're gonna move something. But they get a lot of bread before they go to South Africa.
That's the only part in Africa, though, I see it happening.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. South
sure.
Africa. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and to that's why I was thinking, why not, in Africa? Obviously, there's only so many places that would be able to hold a game, but I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? Maybe 7 years, maybe less than that, maybe way less than that. I see a game
I
in
think
South Africa.
10 is a fair number.
Yeah.
10.
All right.
10.
Well,
Getting time to
but
plan
guess
and everything
what,
else.
guys? 10 years from now,
Yeah.
those older owners I was talking about, because it ain't all of them. But if you look at the ownership of the Commanders, it's changed drastically.
Yep.
You look at the Miami Dolphins ownership, it's changed drastically. So as the ownership, as you get rid of the old mindsets and come to new mindsets, 10 years from now, you're in South Africa. But as constructed, old money, old mindset, old ignorant thoughts, we ain't going over there.
Last but certainly not least, of course, one of the most talented baseball players in history recently passed away. Swift, Pete Rose, with over 4,200 hits in his major league career, died. But of course, he was more remembered for not being included to the Baseball Hall of Fame because of gambling indictments. And ever since the decision was made in the early 90s not to to banish him from any opportunity from getting into the Hall of Fame, the talk was that he was going to be accepted once he passes. Now that he has passed away, Pete Rose will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in the next decade. Straight facts or blacks?
I say, bro, relax, because Major League Baseball, they are bullish, they're hard-headed, they are stuck in their old ways. They believe in protecting the game, making the game look pure, and clean. That's why they suspend all these players for steroids. Look at it, Sammy Sosa can't get a standing ovation because of steroids. Mark McGwire, so they banished all these great players. Just because of the steroids issue, and they view betting and gambling on games as like the cardinal sin, especially with Pete Rose. They said Pete Rose bet on his own team, bet against them, not bet against them, bet on them, and he was the manager at the time also. So they see that as definitely a cardinal sin. And Major League Baseball, they all about keeping their brand blemish free. Now, if it was the NFL, maybe. But Major League Baseball, they all about keeping their image clean and sparkle free. So that's it.
You guys on board with Swift there? Because I think that because they have done a lot of changes to speed up the game, they're putting a stop to the shift, which at first I hated, but now I like it because I think that there might be a changing of the guard. I mean, like RC, you were talking about the old blood that was NFL ownership. I think that we are seeing new blood, new emphasis, new voices to Major League Baseball. And truthfully, because I'm still torn on this, because I think the issue was Pete Rose betting as he was manager, and there isn't a determination on whether he bet against his Cincinnati Reds to lose while he was manager. It'd be like Tim Donaghy.
Well, no, it's not like Tim Donaghy. I think Pete Rose. I got a chance to go to Cincinnati, and I'll never forget this. To walk the halls, to look at the banners, to be right in there. That man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he will because of the human element. They like him dead more than they do alive. I'm going to repeat that again. It's something about humans. They love the dead more than they do the living. So it'll tug, it'll make great storylines, it'll bridge the gap. It's just something about this gonna rear his ugly head, and he'll get in there, and that's sad. Because in that Hall of Fame, you have all types of people. You have more than just cheaters, if you want to call him that.
Sure.
Donahue was an official who altered basketball history because I don't think Kobe and Shaq gets any of that, what they got without that.
Right.
Pete Rose, before he did what he did, he was a manager all washed up. He was a dog. It has nothing to do with what he did in baseball and what he contributed. It's kind of like Barry Bonds' forehead going from this small to this wide. It has nothing to do with this hand-eye coordination. That guy has natural God-given ability, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
But is Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame?
No, he's not.
No, but I'm saying he deserves to be there. So
yeah, that's why I was thinking Pete Rose and Barry Bonds. If they hold these guys that took steroids, they don't have nothing to do with making them hit better. Them guys are already gifted.
It's people in the Hall of Fame that's taking steroids. All right.
Come on, man.
Is Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame?
No.
I mean, we know those people are not, but it's people prior to that is not in
like
the Hall
who?
of Fame. There are people that we don't know of now that took steroids that are in the Hall of Fame.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They cheated, but they ain't get caught. It's about getting caught.
All I'm saying is
A-Rod, they talking about A-Rod might never get in.
and that's fine. But in Pete Rose's case, prior to him being the manager, he was one of the greatest hitters of all time. Okay,
the greatest.
You don't take that from him. You have racist people in the Hall of Fame that did not want black people to play baseball. So what you gonna do with them? Okay,
Look what they did with that.
Because they don't view racism as a cardinal sin. I feel like they view betting on a team and throwing games as a cardinal sin.
But
that's just how it is. That's what I really think. I don't think they view that
let me
as the ultimate.
Well, let me finish what I'm saying. If you can criticize Pete Rose for gambling, you can criticize somebody for being racist.
Yes, indeed.
But that's what I know. But I was telling you, in Major League Baseball, I think they don't care about your views.
And that's
I
stupid.
think they care about they care
if I may,
the cleanness of the game. It's the American sport. I mean, they care about the blemishes on the game. If you're throwing games, cheating the game, taking steroids.
But just because Pete gambled, who said he never gambled against his own team? Now,
we don't know that.
Well,
they said,
we don't know that.
They don't know that for sure.
Wait a minute. No, listen to me, because people have pulled the stats and everything, and they said the games that they felt he gambled on, he left his starting pitchers in longer than he would. So obviously he was the game. Yeah,
that means he was betting on his star pitcher to win the game or get him out there where they was in.
So,
if he leaving them longer, that means he's betting on his team to win.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not trying to say a bad apple, this and that, yada yada, but okay, he's gambling. I mean, if he's gambling on his own team to win, I'm kind of conflicted with it.
No, but the issue is on whether he bet to lose.
What'd you say, Ray?
And it's the issue is more so
I understand.
Did Pete Rose
because they can target pitcher. I mean, leaving your pitcher in the whole game, that definitely can throw the game off. If he's tired and you don't have no velocity on his pitches.
Really. Just because you don't see pitchers nowadays pitch more than 6 innings don't mean that they can't do it.
But they do get sluggish after a long period of time, especially over 100 pitches. Now we have seen this. We actually seen guys throw over 100 pitches this season.
Not Tom Glavine, not Roger Clemens, not those guys. Randy Johnson.
You name the kind of newer guys. We're talking about
70s and 80s with pitchers.
That's what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying, they learned their pitching from that era. So that was passed down to the Randy Johnson era. Those guys went the distance. Them guys were thumpers. So I don't think they got. I think he was trying to win. I don't know what he was trying to do. He
said, I don't know what he trying. Cause look, you look, could be kind of fatigue. We don't act like fatigue don't come in place with
out of this. We don't have to put him in as a manager. You put him in as a player.
That's what I'm saying though. It's him as personal as a player, as a manager. It's just his name tied to it sets it all off.
Do you believe in grace? Do you believe in grace?
It's not me, y'all. I'm telling you what. You acting like I'm telling you why he's not getting in the major league stand. I'm telling you the standards. This is not my standards. I don't give a. I want Sammy Sosa in. I want Mark McGwire in. I want Barry Bonds in. I want A-Rod in.
Hold on, because if Pete Rose admitted to it when he should have, he'd be in right now.
He'll be in. Yeah,
that line. Yep, shouldn't lie. They said line don't use.
He was asshole about it at first, and then
there's more forgiveness for Andy Pettit. There's more forgiveness for Andy Pettit.
Maybe he should have been up front. You know what, guys? Man, I messed up big time. Y'all got me. Yes, I bet on it. Yeah, that would probably be a little bit more again, but he doubled down, tripled down.
You know what else they can do? Also, put him, Barry Bonds, right? All these players, you put them in the Hall of Fame, and you put an asterisk by their name.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm not a fan of that.
All I'm asking you to do is give these people who have committed minor flaws in American society. If we can have a president that's going to be a felon, baseball, why
this is sports? You can't compare it to politics. This is sports.
Yes,
if sports is over today, you still live. But politics have more.
What I'm saying is,
it's about integrity.
What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. This is why you can tie them together. Depends on who's judging and how they see it and how it favors them. Okay, like he said, if he comes out and he says, I did this, and then it's okay. It's like I gotta punish you and humiliate you. You gotta go through this humiliation ritual and then pull you back out and say you can go into my Hall of Fame. The people that actually vote for the Hall of Fame, they're dorks, geeks, nerds, people that don't really probably even watch the game, especially in the NBA and the NFL.
I want to say that about baseball.
No, I don't think it's about
this. They're the main one.
Baseball voters, they not.
But listen, but I guarantee the guys who are voting against Pete Rose, they're just it's copy and paste. Humans do this.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's just you mad, I'm gonna be mad too. You disagree, I disagree. Go do your homework first and kind of do research on it, because it's a minor blip on a great career. It's
not minor. And Major League Baseball is not minor. That's what I'm telling you. You can't look at it like the NFL, NBA. Major League Baseball, they say prestige. Even the Yankees, they all about.
Think about it. RC. If Phil Jackson had a bet going that his Chicago Bulls would lose. Nah, come on, man. You don't know that.
Jordan,
you got proof? You got
Michael
proof?
Jordan. I guarantee you, Michael Jordan betted on the Bulls. I guarantee you.
You got proof. You can't guarantee something you don't have proof, RC.
I don't got proof. You ain't got no proof on Pete Rose doing anything.
Well,
he married it.
Michael Jordan is a gambler. So you don't think Mike said, in this quarter, I'm going to hit 25?
I don't know. I'm not going to put that out there on somebody. I'm not going to put that out there if I don't know.
But I'm just saying hypothetically that
if he was a Diddy party, I'm just saying, RC, he was doing that stuff too. Just because you were there don't mean that.
But I'm saying, I got a gambler. I got a gambler in Michael Jordan. Everybody knows Michael Jordan gamble. Okay.
Sure.
So Michael Jordan, there is a known fact that Mike is competitive. If Mike, I don't doubt that he did it. I would doubt that those players.
I'm not gonna say that.
2 quarters with the towel guy.
Yeah. But he may did, but I'm not gonna put that on somebody and put that out there.
It's not like you making it sound like it's far-fetched. It's far-fetched.
But let me say real quick. Like Rand, you bring up what if Phil Jackson bet on the games? Hell, he wasn't betting to lose.
But the thing is that we don't know. I mean, Pete has said that he had never bet on his team
To lose.
Yeah,
to
he
win.
lied about that.
Right.
So what else
And
could he be lying about?
Can I
Well,
ask something?
let me say this. Let me ask this. Okay, he says he's never bet on his team to lose. How was he as a manager?
It was
Pretty
good.
good.
I think he was pretty good. Yeah.
He was pretty damn
Yeah.
good.
But what is
I
the
can't remember.
Baseball Hall of Fame about? It's about
Close to
it's
the
about
World
what?
Pretty good.
What
I
is
don't
the
even
Baseball Hall of Fame?
remember.
Is it about your stats? It's about your, where you ranked amongst the greats.
Yeah.
Can I talk baseball without mentioning Pete Rose? God dog,
No.
do you realize we still talking about Pete Rose right now? Pete Rose is gone, been gone, probably been dead a lot longer than he's been dead. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. You told a guy that loved baseball that he's not baseball. He's been dead a long time, and that man, they took something from that man.
Well, but if you did something wrong, then that shouldn't excuse the fact that you did something wrong. You just can't throw that away.
Oh, brother, boy.
I don't know. I don't.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, I like. Look, you can praise the guy and everything. You can give him his flowers, but if they did something wrong,
anything wrong, man.
and that's just it, man. Like, we should, if I knew the consequences of my actions, then just accept the consequences of actions. If the Major League Baseball don't want in, then that's their thing. I don't care, but as a man, if I was in the wrong, if I did something terrible, if I did something wrong like that, then I'll accept any punishment they give me because I knew better. Like, I knew better, and that's on me because I was taught not to do stuff that diminish who I am, and I didn't diminish the Major League Baseball as a sport. I diminished myself as a person.
I gotta say, and I think Flowers, you may want to jump in after, but yeah, the whole thing about steroids, like I'm very torn to this day about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, because look, when Roger Clemens was with Toronto, in those 2 seasons he won the Cy Young both times, and that's when he was pinched for steroid use. But I think about it like this: if Usain Bolt came out to say that he had done steroids, that would break my heart so much, because the absolute dominance that Usain Bolt had in the Olympics to win all of those gold medals. He never won a silver. He never, like, from what I know, it was always gold.
Yeah.
And if he was now implicated in steroid use, I would just be so disgusted. It's the same thing with me and Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. They probably wouldn't have needed steroids. I mean, Barry Bonds was already a legend out of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it does seem that you guys are think that Bonds and Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'm torn like you, Randy, because I feel like they should be in, because I mean
Great players.
Baseball, Lord knows, probably 75, 85.
Sammy Sosa.
He was taking steroids.
Sammy Sosa.
Sosa does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Steroids are no. I'm sorry. No.
Man, come on, man.
No.
Talking about the quarterback. Oh man, look, he already had the power.
It took steroids.
Baseball is one of the hardest sports to play, and so what I say about steroids. Okay, steroids prolong a career.
Right.
Whether LeBron wants to admit it, LeBron is taking something to prolong his career. He's a human just like you and I. Whether it's steroids, HG, it's so much stuff out there. Like, you had Ray Lewis come back from a torn bicep to play in the Super Bowl. They saying deer antler spray. Listen, all the great athletes in history, that Hall of Fame in the NFL got some steroids in it. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you can't go from a week to week in a physical sport like that and play without some type of something, right?
Think of what steroids do.
It heals.
Advocate for steroids or nothing.
Yeah,
but they help your muscles heal.
They want to get Barry Bonds, they want to get Barry Bonds like this, and this is where they can't touch Barry Bonds. It don't help you hit a baseball.
Nope.
He was getting one pitch a game. He was getting one. I'm gonna say it again. One pitch.
Oh, I don't know, RC. I don't know. Because we all know Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs, and I'll never forget the season before. His second. The season. So I have a brain cramp right now. I can't even talk. But I mean, like the most home runs he had in one season. Thank you. Now I spit it out. Was 49.
Right.
And it was 10 years. 10 years prior.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to go from 49 to 73
Well,
a decade after the fact?
And that dude changed the play of the game with them home runs.
But listen, I'm more available to you. I'm more available to you because I'm enhancing. So think about this. When you see a guy in his 40s, anytime you see a guy in his early 30s on up and he's muscle bound, okay? And let's go look at his mom and daddy. If his mom and daddy, if mama didn't run track, daddy they doing something they ain't got no business. It's either gonna be, it don't have to be something illegal. A lot of shit is legal now. Okay.
Yep.
You can take, listen.
Sure.
A guy that was mentoring me when I was training and I was teaching and I was doing a whole personal training stuff. He had me believing the metrics, the nutrients and the protein and the creatine, which your body naturally makes some of this stuff, creatine for sure. And you can eat your protein. He had all this, but then I found something in his room. And I was torn about it. Like, you lying to me. I'm working my butt off to look like you, but you cheating the process. Because God ain't create all men to look like Greek gods. So what Barry Bonds, forehead, LeBron James, forehead, look at the forehead. I always look at the forehead when it started here. Barry Bonds' whole entire head was small. So, and he got bigger, but it don't help you be a great athlete. You have a lot of examples of big muscle-bound men who can't do shit with
it was a lot smaller when I was 18 because I've been eating a lot of Big Macs, but please go ahead.
But I'm saying muscle don't make you a great athlete. Ability do.
But to your point, like steroids may help with the process to heal faster. Okay, I could be into that. I mean, I'm sure the Kansas City Chiefs could use some of those steroids for all those walking wounded. But don't take the steroids if you're healthy. Barry Bonds didn't okay. Why does Barry? What injuries did Barry Bonds have for him to nurse? He doesn't have ACL injuries to worry.
I'm a Giants fan. Barry got hit a lot with a baseball. Now I've been blessed to be at a park and be right behind the plate and hear it. Okay, and the ball hitting at a velocity, but then also they play a lot of games. Sure. And then listen, man, you know what was crazy about me and Flowers were talking about McGuire earlier, because his name don't come up that much because he's kind of cleaned up his image. See, he's trying to prepare himself to get in there. He's a
rake. He's a rake now.
So, but when you saw Canseco and you saw McGuire and you saw the Giambi brothers and you knew something was wrong because the uniform didn't even fit on the body right? When you saw Barry, he got bigger, but you really didn't look at him like you looked at them. They looked like bodybuilders playing baseball. Remember Craig Biggio and
Jeff Bagwell.
And Lenny Dykstra, their legs were big. Man, listen, baseball, but we would not have watched baseball the way we watched baseball in that era of baseball without the excitement that they created around baseball. It saved baseball. It really did. I'm not for it, but it saved the game. I think it saved the game.
No, I think there's value to that for sure. I think there's value to that. Guys, listen, I got to tell you, we are chopping on 3 hours, and I was hoping to do a hockey pool. I got to tell you, I sure as heck did not want to cancel tonight because it's our first episode, and this is something that this relaunch to my podcast is something to celebrate. But I've been battling a cold for the past couple of days, and I'm on empty right now, and it's close to midnight here in Toronto. So yeah, so maybe if you guys don't mind, I would love to do the hockey pool with you guys, but maybe if we could do it another time.
No
Love
problem.
to have you
Oh
guys
yeah,
on.
most definitely.
Awesome. Guys, once again, thank you so much for bringing me onto the Voice of the Fans family. I mean, when I found you guys on Instagram and started watching your show, the passion you guys have, inviting me on your podcast, I definitely see a lot of passion and some camaraderie and some great topics and discussion as well. Really looking forward to what we got going on in the future.
Yes, sir. Well, these guys, they bring the passion out of you. So you ain't got to do too much.
Most definitely. Perfect. For Ronnie R.C. Clark, Professor Damian Flowers, and Ben Swift Reynolds, I am Randy Coure. This is a Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. We will talk to you next time.
Peace and blessings.
All right. Y'all have a good night.